Ha 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 ha. The Miz is the new WWE champion. Oh man, what a finish to what I thought was actually a really good pay-per-view. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, but man, I cannot help but die laughing. The Miz has successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase finally, and not only that, but he is now the new WWE champion. It all makes sense why WrestleVotes posted the eye emoji earlier. Oh man, I thought it had to do with the Fiend. But man, boy, was I wrong. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought about tonight's pay-per-view. I'm still here trying to get all my stuff posted, you know? I swear there's not enough time before the pay-per-view ending and me starting these shows to get everything done. But anyways, yeah, let's see what you guys thought. What's going on? There's a lot of people here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you are new here, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I would love you for it. Also, please make sure to hit that like button as well. The Miz is the new WWE champion, man. The Miz is the new WWE champion. All right, let's get this going here. WWE Chamber. All right, I got everything posted. We are ready to go. Like I said, overall, I thought the show was pretty good. Miz should not have won, says Rich. I agree, man. Anthony has been saying I hate Miz ever since I started this. John says first match was a banger. I loved the SmackDown Elimination Chamber. It was great. Vincent says I need Lashley to get that title while wearing some Yeezys. You think that's where this is going? Okay, so I'm very interested in seeing where this is going, because from what I understood from where we were at prior to what just happened. I had The Miz and John Morrison taking on Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in a tag team match at WrestleMania. So where do we go from here? Have Lashley squash him tomorrow, please? Says Warrior Nation. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could go that route, saying like, hey, if MVP, maybe they didn't make an agreement for it being WrestleMania, maybe they're going to have it tomorrow. I guess you could do that and then just have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, I guess. Matthew says, you hyped for the new Yeezys? Not so much, no. I like the Ash Pearl ones, the white and purplish looking ones, but the other ones, not so much. Definitely going to get those ones, though. Pro Gamer says The Miz is probably going to lose at Fastlane. Bad Bunny going to be the WWE champion. The Miz versus Reginald is best for business, says Chef Big Boy. Bishoy says, where did Asuka and Evans go? So Lacey Evans announced that she was pregnant on Raw this week. I guess it would still be considered this week. And so the match got canceled, but WWE decided not to tell anyone. They just decided to take it off the air, which is a huge shame. Oscar says, you think they're going to play the rematch crap tomorrow? Maybe. I mean, that's very possible. It's very possible. Sam says, what is your thoughts on The Miz winning the WWE Championship? I think it's terrible. I really do. I think it's terrible. But, I guess it really depends on where they go with it, to be honest. I mean, oh, man, I don't see. I wouldn't mind had The Miz been booked better going into this, but he really hasn't. I mean, not that he's looked strong or anything during this, because he heavily relied on Bobby Lashley to get all of this going. So I'm not too mad at it, but man, this would have been much more enjoyable had Drew McIntyre not lost the WWE Championship to Randy Orton for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever that was, before. Irrespond says, oh God, don't give us Brock versus Drew. We need a part-time, or we don't need a part-time champ. Yeah, man, I really don't know, man. Flash says, this show left me with more questions than answers. I'm lost. I don't have any idea what the plan is. Me too. So I fully expected to watch Elimination Chamber tonight and just completely know exactly what was going on in the road to WrestleMania. And now I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue what is going on. BL does make a very, very interesting point. He says Brock versus Bobby at Mania. If they could make that happen, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. I would love. So if they somehow, some way, maybe they don't let Drew McIntyre have a rematch. Tomorrow night on Raw, they have Bobby Lashley versus The Miz for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley absolutely destroys The Miz because that's what he's been doing. Bobby Lashley becomes the new WWE champion, and then out of nowhere comes Brock Lesnar. I could definitely see that happening, and I wouldn't complain about that. I wouldn't complain about that. I think we're ready to see that Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar match, and right now is probably a really good time to do it because Bobby Lashley has been booked so well. And I think I said it in my predictions video earlier that if Bobby Lashley was to drop the United States Championship tonight, that he should just move on. He should not look back. The United States Championship is in his rear view mirror, and it's time to just go on to bigger and better things, and that is for him the WWE Championship. So I think it's good. I think it's good. Delight says Lesnar's about to debut at Revolution. I couldn't see that. That would be insane, but there's no way that I would see that happening. Andre says, at least let The Miz hold the title until Fastlane. Maybe. I mean, so as soon as I saw MVP talking to The Miz, I felt like I knew that something was going on. Something was going on there. So it makes sense that he was actually going to cash in. And I could tell that as soon... Why is this not working? As soon as Sheamus got eliminated, I knew that The Miz was cashing in. Not necessarily that he was going to win per se, but I figured that he would be cashing in for sure. Because I really thought it was going to be Sheamus. I thought that Sheamus could have walked out tonight as the WWE champion, hold it until WrestleMania, and then run it back with Drew McIntyre. And that is where Drew McIntyre would have reclaimed the WWE championship and would have been able to do it in front of fans. So that's what I was expecting on that. Irresponse says, I've seen wrestling pages say a dream match between Brock and Bobby at Mania. Yeah, I think everyone's been wanting to see that. Everyone's been wanting to see that for a very long time. JVOJ says, at this point, I don't know what they got planned for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Yeah, I don't think they do either, man. I don't think they do either. WrestleVotes posted that they pretty much didn't have a plan for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. So who knows when this actually came to fruition. If you would have asked me, if you would have said, hey, do you think The Miz will be WWE champion anytime soon or in the year 2021? I would have laughed at your face. Would have laughed at you. I mean, of course, that is what we did when we started off the show, is just laugh, because that's all you really can do. Thinking of The Miz in his current state as the WWE champion just does not fit. It just does not fit. James says, hello, AOW. Daniel Bryan deserves a rematch for the title at Fastlane. I could see him doing that. I could really see them doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I wouldn't be surprised. Trip says, if Brock comes back, then what will happen with Heyman? I don't know. I mean, at least they would be on different brands. So Brock would be on Raw. And, of course, your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, would be on SmackDown, as always. Timane says, did y'all hear Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton? They were acting like The Miz couldn't cash in the contract. I didn't. I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to pop off these posts as quick as I can because I knew what was coming on. And I had all my titles. I had all of my my assets made for the pictures that I was going to post and all of that. And I had to go in and change the title for everything and redo everything. So I was like, God damn it. Alex says, is the pay-per-view over? Yes, sir. The pay-per-view ended I don't know, like 20 minutes ago at this point or so. Mason says, sorry I'm late. No worries, man. We're just getting into it. We're kind of talking about The Miz. I mean, you know, you kind of got to start. You got to start here. You got to start here. I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens later on. King G says, shut up, AOW. This is my show. He's the best heel ever. Well, welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to the show. F Chef says, I want to cry. I want to cry. I want to cry. I feel you, man. I feel you, man. I kind of feel bad for Drew McIntyre. I'm not going to lie, man. I feel bad. Bluegrass says, I'm so happy that The Miz won. I don't know, man. How many weeks? Ryan says, how many weeks do we have until Mania? I think like, it was like 50 days or something like that. I don't know. So I think it's probably around 6 weeks. I think we have 3 weeks from now until Fastlane. And then after Fastlane, we have 3 weeks until WrestleMania. So probably sometime around 6 weeks would be my guess. Andre says 48 days. So there you go. 48 days. Edwin says, Bobby gonna be champion. Drew left to dry now. You think so? You think so? I think so. Okay. So I think if what they were talking about earlier is Bobby Lashley will help The Miz lay out by laying out Drew McIntyre. That way, Bobby Lashley can get a WWE Championship match tomorrow night on Raw. Maybe then you can have some sort of build for Drew and Bobby at WrestleMania. I don't know though, man. I don't know. it's crazy. I mean, we could see a multi-person match as well. You know, we could see the Miz versus Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, all for the WWE Championship. We could see that. One of the rumored matches that we heard earlier on was Keith Lee versus Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. So I wouldn't put a multi-man match out of the picture quite yet, especially because the other match is completely set in stone now. Edge has challenged Roman Reigns, so one of the main events for WrestleMania is going to be Roman Reigns defending his Universal Championship against Edge. So I don't know, man. I don't know. C. Rich says, where does AJ go from here? Mania versus Baszler or Adam Cole? I don't know where AJ goes from here, to be honest with you. I really don't. I didn't think that he was going to win this by any means, but I really like what AJ has been doing with Omos. So I don't know, just a good feud. I would love to see him in a good feud with someone, and just doing something interesting. You know, I don't think that AJ needs to be a WWE champion at this point. He's AJ Styles, man. He's AJ Styles. I say the same thing about Kevin Owens pretty much. It's Kevin Owens. So I don't mind. They're legends. They can do whatever the hell they want. They're both very entertaining. So I don't mind. I don't mind. JVOJ says maybe AJ Styles versus Triple H at Mania. Yeah, actually, good thing that you did bring that up, Jay, because that is one of the things that's very possible to happen. Very possible to happen. AJ Styles said, I believe it was an interview, but he said that AJ Styles wanted Edge for WrestleMania. If he cannot have Edge, he says he wants to take on Triple H. So maybe we could see some sort of AJ Styles and Triple H thing going on at WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind that. I would like it. I would like it a lot. Zach Stone says Strowman versus Shane O'Mac at Mania 2. Huh? So, okay. So what's going on with this? What's going on with Strowman and Shane McMahon? Did I miss something on Raw? Because I didn't watch Raw. Remember, my power was off. So I didn't see anything about it, but I've seen someone else mention something about Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. And I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. Diego says AJ could go for the United States title, by the way. Thoughts on Riddle winning the US title? Very excited for Riddle. I was not expecting to see Riddle walk away with the championship. I really thought it was going to be Keith Lee. As I said in my predictions video, I really thought it was going to be Keith Lee. And if Keith Lee wasn't in the match, I really thought that it was going to have Bobby Lashley retaining. So I don't know. Mason says, why did you not do a live stream for Vengeance Day? So I lost power for about 5 or 6 days. So I completely missed. So on my last week's Friday post show, I lost power during the middle of it. So I missed Raw. I missed NXT. I missed Dynamite. And I caught SmackDown, but I also missed NXT TakeOver. I wasn't able to watch any of those. What about Owens versus Sami? I'm always down to watch Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn fight each other. Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan could definitely happen at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins versus Cesaro could definitely happen at WrestleMania as well. Moo Lander says, I thought Gold versus Riddle at Mania. Man, I would love that. I would love to see Gold take on Matt Riddle at WrestleMania. Oh man, I would love it. I would love it so much. Jared says Strowman threatened Shane O'Mac while talking to Adam Pearce. Okay. Zach Stone says Braun was pissed that he wasn't in the WWE title match. Told Pearce Shane better make this right or there'll be. Then I zoned out. So yeah. Okay. Man, Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon for WrestleMania is really not something that I think I want to tune into. I don't know. Julian says, can I get a OWA chat? What is an OWA? Did you mean an AOW? King G says, I sent it to you. What did you send me? You sent me something on Instagram? Moo Lander says, why do you bleep Gold name? I don't like to cuss on stream. YouTube will demonetize me for cussing so much, so I cannot say Gold live on stream. Cannot say it. What the hell is an OWA? What am I missing here? Pikachu Roy says Daniel Bryan can get a rematch in a couple of weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Daniel Bryan take on Roman Reigns at Fastlane. I wouldn't be surprised if they had sort of a mini feud right there while also trying to work in the Edge one as well. I could definitely see that happening. Charles says, I don't understand why The Miz won the title. He's in the middle of a feud with Bad Bunny. Shouldn't not happen during this time. So I'm going to assume that he's going to drop the title very quickly. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. Basili says, oh, same AOW. That's the last thing anyone wants is Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know if you guys maybe feel different about it, but I have absolutely no interest in Braun Strowman at this point. I just don't. I'm over it. I'm completely over it. I don't know. Let's see here. Nexus returning at WrestleMania. No, man, I doubt it. Obi James says, when will Lana and Naomi face Nia and Shayna? I don't know, man. I'm not sure. Maybe they will do it on just a regular episode. You think maybe just on an episode of Raw they'll do that? Otherwise, I'm not quite sure. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. Oh my God, this YouTube thing, man, is going bananas. I forgot to type in the little hashtag thingies on the YouTube video. WWE Chamber, Elimination Chamber. There we go. Perfect. Yes. Marie says, we want Rhonda. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen her yet. Julian says, Sasha Banks is the greatest female wrestler of all time. I'm glad you enjoy her. Yeah, Anthony, you got to chill, bro. You got to chill now, man. We get it. We get it. I see it. I see that you hate The Miz. We all get it. It's just funny at this point, right? It's just funny. It's just funny. It's okay. Shelva says, did you see Buddy Murphy's tweet? I did not, but I can look. I can look for sure. Murphy. He changed his name to The Best Kept Secret again. So Buddy Murphy said, so WWE Chamber is full of former WWE champions. How about a chamber full of the future? Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Aleister Black, Cedric Alexander, Kalisto, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo. Humberto Carrillo is not a future WWE champion, okay? Never. Angel Garza and Drew Gulak. That'd be great. Rocco says, my number one match I want for Mania is Miz versus heel Morrison. Do you think that maybe this could be a way to split up the Miz and John Morrison now that the Miz is the WWE champion? Maybe John Morrison's going to get jealous or something? Obi James says, we can blame Humberto Carrillo for the power outage. Yes. 100%. It was Humberto Carrillo's fault. He sent an ice storm. He used his witch powers and sent an ice storm to my city and made me lose power for 5 days. Unbelievable. If this guy does not get locked up, it's besides me. How? How can he have such a criminal running amok on a city? Not even just a person anymore. An entire city. He ruined the lives of thousands. Flash says maybe the Miz versus a face John Morrison would work better. Maybe. So the problem here is with any feud between the Miz and John Morrison, it's not going to look very good because both of them are booked like geeks. They're a bunch of nerds, man. They win these random matches when they absolutely have to, but any other way, if it's any other match, they are the ones losing. They're the ones losing. It makes no sense. Zaxxon says, I love your rants about Humberto. It's always a good time, man. Always a good time. See, I disagree. I do not think that The Miz should be WWE champion right now. I really don't. Like, I can maybe get it. I can maybe understand where everything is coming from a story standpoint when we get to that point with Bobby Lashley and all of that. But man, The Miz as WWE champion in 2021 is insanely wild. Insanely wild. Basili says, plot twist. Humberto Carrillo is the real brains behind the Foot Clan. How funny would that be? How funny would that be? Pikachu Roy says, you sound like my math teacher. Maybe I am your math teacher. What do you think about that? Maybe I am a math teacher. I'm about to have a show coming up called By the Numbers. It involves a lot of math, a lot of numbers. I do some posts. Do some posts on Instagram breaking down the numbers for the shows. Ratings, demos, match lengths. How much percentage of the show was dedicated to matches, commercials, promos. So maybe I am your math teacher. Or maybe not. You'll never know. You will never know. Warrior says, Miz spent better part of 2020 to now being a loser. Why would anyone want a loser as the top champion? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Israel, why do you keep asking me if I'm a gay man? Chill, bro. No. God damn. What the hell? Notorious Swaggy says, could we see Damian Priest versus The Miz happen? There was a report that Damian is liked backstage. I mean, yeah, I guess it's very possible. It's very possible. I saw that as well. Everyone is saying that everyone backstage absolutely loves Damian Priest. Everyone loves him. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's very possible. It's very possible. Maybe we could have The Miz with John Morrison versus Damian Priest with Bad Bunny. We could definitely see that. And Damian Priest is WWE champion. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. So, hey, sure, maybe Damian Priest is our next WWE champion. But also at the same point, where does that leave Sheamus? Where does that leave Drew McIntyre? And where does that leave Bobby Lashley at this point? I don't know. Shelvis says, strap a rocket to Priest. Yeah, Damian Priest is incredible, man. He's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I am a big fan of Damian Priest. I'm kind of a sad that they got rid of his cool little spot where he would stand on the ramp and they would do the light spots on him and he would move from side to side. I loved that. I loved it. Davion says, where do you think Andrade will end up? I have no clue, man. The last thing that I heard was that Vince McMahon does not care about Andrade, Keith Lee, or Aleister Black. That's all I know at the moment. Mason says, I have to go. I will see you tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Thank you, Mason, for tuning in, man. I really appreciate it. Chase Green, bro, what in the world? What in the world is this nonsense? And why, dude? Oh my God. I don't want to time out the wrong person. In timeout, Chase Green. In timeout for you. Rocco says, I can already tell this Mania is going to be filled with legends versus current superstars. That's very, very possible. That's very possible. Especially, if we're going to have Triple H, we're going to have Edge, we're going to have maybe Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, maybe Shane McMahon. Punk says, bro is our new U.S. champ. Yeah, man, that was crazy, right? Josh says, a little late here. What's up? How's it going, my friend? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Nothing, man. We're just kind of chilling. We're just kind of talking a little bit about The Miz here. Laughing, having a good time. Just talking about things. Philip says Carlito's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Carlito, man. Happy birthday. Hopefully Carlito ends up somewhere soon because that guy's awesome. Davian says it's going to be so weird seeing fans. It is, man. WrestleMania is going to be very interesting. Should be about 25,000 fans in attendance for WrestleMania. James says, imagine Samoa Joe telling Byron and Tom, no, dipshits, it's not over. Asuka still needs a challenger for her Raw Women's Championship. Man, I feel so bad for Asuka. So bad for Asuka. Her entire Raw Women's Championship reign has been trash. Like, super trash. It sucks. It sucks, man. Like, and she's almost had the title for like a year now, right? Pretty close to a year now. Just a couple months away at this point. Becky Lynch gave it to her right after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Oh, man, it's brutal. And she's only defended it quite a few times. Like, she defended it a couple weeks ago against Alexa Bliss on Raw, which that match ended in a disqualification, if you guys don't remember, because Randy Orton RKO'd Alexa Bliss. And then the next week, she just didn't even really care. But then her other title defenses, the last ones were 2 title defenses against Zelina Vega, if I remember correctly. Zelina Vega has not only been released from the company, but also her 90-day no-compete has already passed. If that doesn't tell you how long ago that was. The 2 prior to that one were Lana, I believe. If not, it's the other way around. The last ones were Lana, and then it was Zelina Vega. But anyways, the last 2 challengers besides Alexa Bliss recently was Lana and Zelina Vega. It's just, it sucks, man, because Asuka is incredible. I love Asuka so much. So it really sucks to see her booked that way. Moolander says Asuka versus Charlotte. I wouldn't mind seeing Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania again, as long as Asuka wins. But God, I mean, like, who even is there to take the Raw Women's Championship off of Asuka at this point? Anthony says, I thought Asuka would do an open challenge. I would have liked to see that. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. I just don't like how they just randomly took the show, or that match, off of the show. They didn't mention it. They didn't talk about anything. So it's like, man, come on. Jack says, yo, man, first post since the Rumble. Good to be back. I think Miz could be a quality champion if and only if they book him as he was during his IC title run. I would agree. I loved the Miz during his Intercontinental Championship reign back in the day, but at this point, I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. Chef says 48 days and they already buried a storyline with the women on SmackDown. Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. For sure. Davion says, I need Rhea to be called up ASAP. I'm really surprised that they have not had Rhea Ripley on anything yet. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. JBO says, if Charlotte wins back the title, I hope Rhea Ripley gets her rematch at Mania and wins the Raw Women's title. I wouldn't be mad at that either. So on the Raw side, I guess we could have Asuka versus Charlotte Flair, or Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, or maybe even Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, or hell, maybe just throw all 3 of them in a triple threat match. I don't know. But I definitely think that Rhea Ripley needs to end up on Raw. SmackDown is pretty much fine in their department. Like, they have some terrible booking from time to time, but Raw, man, Raw needs all of the help that it can get. So please send in Rhea Ripley to Raw ASAP. We need a better women's division over there. Fanatic Gaming says, what if they did something with Taya Valkyrie? So Taya Valkyrie is going to NXT, from what I understand. She's going to NXT, so she won't be on Raw or SmackDown, which I thought was kind of interesting as well, because she could just be paired up with John Morrison. I think she'd be fine. John says, you think they may debut Xia Li after Mania to face whoever is Raw Women's Champion? Probably not, no. I don't think that they would be able to successfully do what they're doing with Xia Li on Raw or SmackDown. I think it fits best on NXT, and I think it'd be way too early. Way too early. Vince says, who did Roman fight tomorrow? What do you mean? What do you mean? Kev Scott says, laugh my ass off, not Bad Bunny versus The Miz. Okay, so for this whole thing, I've always said that I have no problem with Bad Bunny being in WWE, and in the capacity that he's in right now, I don't mind it. Like him being teamed up with Damian Priest, Bad Bunny winning the 24/7 championship, I couldn't care less. But if Bad Bunny is going to be challenging for the WWE championship, then I certainly do have a problem with it. 100%. 100% have a problem with that. Who did Roman fight tonight? Roman ended up fighting Daniel Bryan tonight. Daniel Bryan. Notorious says Hurt Business versus Drew, Sheamus, and returning Wade Barrett at Mania while Miz and Damian for the championship. I don't see Wade Barrett wrestling again, at least not anytime soon. Mally Man says 48 days left until WrestleMania, and I have a feeling that the Miz and Morrison versus Priest and Bad Bunny won't happen at Mania. Maybe. Deviant says they also have Chelsea Green just laying around waiting. Is she ready to return? I think she broke her wrist, right? Didn't she break her wrist? Justo says, thank you for the updates. I missed most of the show, and I'm glad that I did. Wished I missed the ending, though. No worries, man. I actually thought that this show was pretty good for the most part. The ending is wild as hell. I was not expecting that. And Edge picking Roman Reigns was... I guess we all knew it was going to happen, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Other than the weird ending and then the women's tag team championship match, like I could have definitely gone without that. 100% could have gone without that. I did not need to see that tonight. Did not need to see it. She said she's healed and ready to go. Oh, okay. Well, good for her, man. Good for her. I hope to see her soon. I'm a huge fan of Chelsea Green. So Kev Scott says, I think Humberto Carrillo is going to face The Miz for the WWE Championship. Man, I would die. Damian Priest. Okay, so, I mean, we could talk about this more later, but is Damian Priest ready to be the face of the company? Is Damian Priest ready to be the WWE champion? I mean, granted, he would still have, what, we said 48 days until WrestleMania? So he's still got like a month and a half. So yeah, 6 weeks, about 6 weeks until WrestleMania. Is there any way from now into 6 weeks that Damian Priest could be ready to be WWE champion? Could he be ready to be the face of the company? I'm not quite sure. I think he's very talented, and I think he's definitely on his way there. But now, at this exact time, or within 6 weeks, I'm not sure. I mean, everyone is a huge fan of him, so I guess it could be possible, but I mean, it's WWE at the end of the day, right? So WWE is going to be WWE. They live by their own rules, and they really don't give a shit about anything else or following any type of logic. So yeah, maybe. I guess maybe. Deleted says they pushed Keith Lee too fast, and look what happened. I know. How can you have a former... Keith Lee was the NXT and NXT North American champion at the same time when he got called up. And now he's just off the show. Which some people, I was kind of irritated about it because I had heard that he wasn't there tonight. And with all of the recent news going around saying that Vince doesn't care about Keith Lee, he doesn't think that he's great, he doesn't think that he's talented, and he doesn't see the it factor in Keith Lee. Then to hear him get taken off of this match with a quote unquote injury was kind of frustrating. So I don't know if he is actually injured. Someone in my comments did say that there is a report that he is. I haven't had time to go look around and find it and see if that is true or not. So I'll have to update people on that. But man, if Keith Lee is done on Raw, that's a huge shame. Huge shame. CM Punk says, what about the Fiend? Yeah, no Fiend tonight. No Fiend. Randy Orton was eliminated from the Elimination Chamber with the swiftness tonight by Kofi Kingston. I was really expecting to see some foul play from Alexa Bliss or Randy Orton tonight. And nope. Nada. Nothing. Not a light flicker, not a sound, no motion, no nothing. No Fiend, no Alexa Bliss in sight. So hopefully tomorrow on Raw, they do. Especially because tomorrow night on Raw, they should have a boost in viewership tomorrow. If they do not have an increased viewership tomorrow with a new champion coming off of what I thought was another solid pay-per-view, that would suck. That would really, really, really suck for them. Clash says, who is the Universal Champion? That is your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. James says, doesn't WWE know how racist it looked when Mr. What? I have no idea what you're even talking about. Ryan Hunt says, Alex Riley is going to return and challenge his former mentor, The Miz. Vasily says, rehearsed joke match, Bad Bunny versus Marshmello at WrestleMania 37. Mark says, for real, thought Bryan was gonna make him tap. Dude, that was crazy. That would have been so cool. I don't know. Oh man, I don't know how I would have felt about that had Roman Reigns had to tap out. That would have been crazy. Anthony says, by this time, I'd rather see Humberto Carrillo as WWE champion than The Miz. Not me, man. Not me. No way. Not me. Deleted says, I thought Sheamus and Drew would be the last ones. I did too. And as soon as Sheamus got eliminated, I knew instantly that there was going to be a cash in. I didn't know if it was going to be successful or not, but I definitely knew that one was coming. Pac-Man says, why people hating on The Miz? I don't think that they're like hating on The Miz, but The Miz hasn't been booked very well. So for him to just become WWE champion is kind of odd. Of course, I mean, I guess it's not that odd considering that he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, but you know, he's not booked strong. Him and John Morrison together couldn't even beat up Drew McIntyre. So for The Miz, if he's going to have a rematch against Drew McIntyre, it's not going to be believable. Of course, unless Bobby Lashley helps him out again. And then, I don't know. Maybe that's the route that they're going to go. They'll have some sort of hurt business deal with The Miz and maybe even John Morrison. I don't know. And it will be Bobby Lashley's job to keep the WWE Championship around The Miz's waist until WrestleMania. Very possible. Pac-Man says, well, they can book him strong now since he's the champ. They could, yeah. I mean, I guess they could technically. They're the ones that booked the show, so all they have to do is pull the trigger on it. But I don't know, it just kind of seems so ass backwards, you know? If you want someone to be a WWE champion, the way that you would go about it is to having them be badass, having them get a bunch of wins, be devastating, and work their way up there to capture it. You wouldn't kind of just put it around their waist and then be like, okay, well, I hope you're able to run with it. Mark says, Jey Uso trapping Kevin Owens with the chamber and kicking him repeatedly was awesome. It was. I agree. Kev Scott says, what's with the Humberto Carrillo? Are you talking about me hating him? Well, Humberto Carrillo is an unsafe worker, okay? He DDT'd a coworker onto concrete. Onto concrete. Poor Andrade's head, his bare head, was driven into concrete at work. Nonetheless, at work. You can't have that. And then Humberto Carrillo beat me up. I was eating a Lunchable, knocked me over, spilled my Lunchable everywhere. He still owes me $1.99 for it. Beat me up. And then he took my phone and made a bunch of really bad predictions for a pay-per-view. He's a criminal. Absolute criminal. He also is the one that drugged the Street Profits. You remember when Montez Ford got drugged? That was Humberto Carrillo. Absolute criminal, man. Flash says that KO moonsault was unexpected but fantastic. Yes, it was. It really was. Okay, maybe we should start getting into this show here. It's been 45 minutes of chit-chatting back and forth about The Miz and yada, 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 all this stuff going on. So let's go ahead and get into the show tonight. If you're still here and you haven't already subscribed yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit the like button. It helps me so much when all of this gets published. It pushes it up, ranks the video higher, makes more people see it, and that makes me happy, and that makes everyone else happy. It's a good world. It is a beautiful world we live in. So thank you. I would greatly appreciate that. We blew past 1,000 subscribers. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for that. We're on the road to monetization now, and we're so close. I'm so close to it. I can smell it. I can smell it. And so if you don't know, the whole thing with monetization and all of that So when I get monetization, every single penny that this channel earns goes to buying a camera. And when that camera is purchased, that is when you get your precious face reveal. Your precious face reveal gets closer and closer by the day. Closer and closer. So very important that we hit these goals. We should be there soon. So yes, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and get into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Like I said earlier, overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. Pretty good show. WWE has been pretty solid on the pay-per-view forefront right about now. Hyping them up, not so much. Not so much at all. But they've delivered. They've delivered. I can't complain about it. I cannot complain about it at all. Kicking off the show with the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match was great. It was great. Let me see here. Let me scroll down. Flash says, I enjoyed the SmackDown Chamber more than the Raw one. I think I did too. Yeah, I would say so. I thought it was really good. I think that the way that they started it off was great as well, with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro being the first entrants, or the two people to start off the Elimination Chamber. Man, I thought that was awesome. I love Daniel Bryan. I love Cesaro, and these two were my picks to win the Elimination Chamber in my video. Daniel Bryan is the one that ended up winning it, thankfully. But yeah, it was good. Cesaro had some good spots where he threw Sami Zayn off the chamber, and then he grabbed the top and did a couple pull-ups up there. I thought that was really good. Everyone had really good performances in this. I really liked the part where Sami Zayn's pod opened and King Corbin was trying to get in, and he was like, no, I'm not coming in yet. But the other pod door on the opposite side had opened. Cesaro went in there and beat the hell out of him, threw some punches at him, hit him with a European uppercut, which is one of my favorite moves. I love me a good old-fashioned European uppercut. Is so beautiful. So hits him with a European uppercut and then just tosses him around like a rag doll inside of his pod and eventually throws him out. I loved it. I loved that spot so much. The only thing that I will complain about for the most part for this pay-per-view was the camera cuts, man. Good Lord. The camera cuts and the weird camera angles, they drive me nuts sometimes. Drive me nuts. Red Brown says, no way Drew wins it back at Fastlane. Maybe he wins it before. Or maybe he wins it back at Mania. I could see that. Raju says, man, AJ Styles has always faced a legend at Mania ever since his debut. Wonder who he's going to face this year. Probably Triple H. Mania says, so does this mean that Roman fights Bryan at Fastlane? I would assume so. That would be my guess. Yes. Andre says Cesaro should have won. I agree. But maybe they didn't go that route because they didn't want Cesaro to get squashed after the match. Bryan lasted what, like a minute, 2 minutes, maybe. And while it was good, I did enjoy what they did with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. It wasn't very long. So maybe they didn't want that for Cesaro. It seems like they're pushing Cesaro. It seems like he's going to be pushed. So it'll be interesting to see where Cesaro does eventually end up. I loved the banter between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in this match as well. Sami Zayn tried to team back up with Kevin Owens in this, tried to have them be on the same page. He said that we're not the poster childs for this. We aren't supposed to be here, so we should reunite once again. And Kevin Owens said, nah, bro. And started beating the hell out of Sami Zayn once again. Flash says, so the plan having Cesaro versus Rollins for Mania. So I could see Cesaro and Rollins for Mania, or Daniel Bryan and Rollins for Mania. Yeah, I could see one of those. Let's see here. Obi James says Cesaro versus Big E. I wouldn't put Cesaro with Big E. I think that's a step down for him currently. I think that he needs to be in this main event scene. I think that Cesaro needs to shine in this Universal Championship scene. I think that's what he needs. And who knows? After we talked about WrestleMania being about 6 weeks away, so Maybe there's going to be another draft. Maybe people will get shaken up a little bit. So maybe we could even see Cesaro move over to Raw or something like that. Which, oh man, that's probably not good for him at all, to be honest. Probably not good to have Cesaro move over to Raw, but I don't know. I'm just saying that anything could happen. It is the road to WrestleMania, and afterwards there could be some shakeups, some debuts, yada, yada, yada. Andre says Big E versus Christian. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that match might happen. And with this year's WrestleMania being so current superstar versus legend, it could very well be something like that happens. And it's kind of weird how this show has shaped up to be that way. It's weird. It's like a 2-night Legends night all over again. And you know, something else that's interesting that I will mention is that if we have to witness 2 Gold matches a year, what is Gold going to be doing at WrestleMania? If he's not at WrestleMania, where is he going to be this year? I don't think there's going to be some sort of Saudi show or anything this year, at least not to my knowledge at this point. Ooh, I don't know. James says, what if Seth Rollins attacked Cesaro and took his spot in the chamber match? I think most people would have been pissed off about that. The world is ready to see Cesaro shine. That's what we want. We've wanted it for years. We've all wanted to see Cesaro shine. Cesaro should be, at this point, Cesaro should be a multi-time world champion in his career. He should. And he hasn't even won a single one. Not one. Zip, zilch, nada. Nothing for Cesaro. So I hope that they stick with Cesaro right now, and I hope that he eventually gets to the top. But the thing that sucks about all of this is that you have Roman Reigns killing it. Roman Reigns is easily the best thing that WWE has on their TV right now. So I don't see him losing the title. I guess we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next segment, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it. Anthony says maybe Gold second match of the year will be Matt Riddle. I would love that. Riddle even said that he's willing to lose. He doesn't care. He just wants it to happen. So I'd be down for that. Andre says SummerSlam. Yeah, I guess they could run it at SummerSlam. I guess. I really just want to get it out of the way because I just can't stand that Gold gets inserted in everything the way that he does. It drives me nuts. So I'd rather it be quick and painless. Just grab the Band-Aid and rip it off. I don't want to be peeling it away for an entire year, if you know what I mean. Vasily says, oh, another good match for WrestleMania that would be very entertaining is Cesaro versus Shinsuke. Yeah, we could maybe see that. Rocco says, I think we get Cesaro versus Rollins because Rollins books his own feuds, and I think he'll want Cesaro since they're close friends, and he'll put him over. I would love to see Father Rollins put over Cesaro at WrestleMania. I would love to see that. I would love to see it. Andre says, if Edge doesn't win the title, it will be a complete waste of time. I mean, all right, hold on. 1 second. We'll get there. We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. Let's finish this up here. So anyways, this chamber match was really good. I enjoyed it. This was definitely my preferred chamber match of the night. I preferred the SmackDown one over the Raw one. This one was great. Had a bunch of good spots. I could have gone without King Corbin being in it, but I guess it is what it is. So anyways, Daniel Bryan is the one that ended up winning this match. Oh, and I'm glad that we haven't skipped over this because Daniel Bryan injured his leg at some point during the match, so everyone was kind of capitalizing on it. Cesaro went to go do his swing, but he was only holding the leg that was troubling Daniel Bryan, and while he was spinning him around, Jey Uso came in and super kicked Cesaro right in the face, and that is how Cesaro got eliminated. That was dope. That was really cool. Really cool. I really liked that spot. It looked very good. So the last two contenders in this Elimination Chamber match that we had were Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso, and Daniel Bryan ended up getting the win. So he had to go on to face Roman Reigns tonight for the Universal Championship. WWE never said when. They didn't say directly. I think they kind of said afterwards, but they never said directly afterwards or just later in the night or at just some random point in the night. So I really thought that this was going to be the main event match, and then, well, the lead up to the main event match, and then Roman versus whoever would have been the main event. But yeah, Daniel Bryan won the match. He's laying down on the ground. I think this match was like 40 something minutes, 40 plus minutes. It was a good one. So Daniel Bryan he started the match. He won the match. He's tired. He's laid out. He got his ass beat for 45 minutes. He's laying out there. And then all of a sudden, your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, starts coming out to the ring. The Universal Championship match is now. Right now. So, of course, this match was going to be a short match. I don't think there are very many people that could have gone through a 45-minute Elimination Chamber and then beat one of the best people in the business. But man, the opening sequence to this match was incredible. Daniel Bryan laid out, trying to get himself up. Roman Reigns in the other corner. Roman Reigns starts to charge him for a spear. Daniel Bryan moves out of the way and counters it into a yes lock. So good. It was so good looking. I loved it. Very happy to see that. And I was like, damn, how crazy would it be for Daniel Bryan to put away Roman Reigns in 30 seconds via tap out, via submission? That would have been insane. Anyways, Roman Reigns ended up getting out of it, and he just beat the living hell out of Daniel Bryan. Pretty much squashed him. The match was probably 2 minutes long, if I had to guess a time. Somewhere around 2 minutes. Roman Reigns pins Daniel Bryan and retains his Universal Championship. While Roman Reigns was celebrating, Edge came out of nowhere and speared him. Out of nowhere with the spear. Once Roman Reigns was laid out, Edge pointed up to the WrestleMania sign that was massive. It's so big right now. Huge. Points up to the sign and a bunch of fireworks start popping up. That was all we needed to know. That it was finally cemented in stone. Roman Reigns will defend his Universal Championship against Edge in the main event of WrestleMania. I'm not sure if it'll be night 1 or night 2. I don't really think it matters, but it will main event one of the nights of WrestleMania. And all I have to say is good luck, Edge. Good luck. You're going to need it. There's no way in hell I think that Edge is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. There's no way. Marcel says, I can't believe people like the fact that the Miz won. He deserved it. Yeah, can't be me, man. Can't be me. Andre says, oh, I'm glad you mentioned this. Andre says, I like the spot where KO got his arm stuck and Jay just super kicked the hell out of him. I agree, man. That was a really cool spot as well. Kevin Owens' arm got jammed inside the chamber door, and Jey Uso just wailed on him, just molly-whopped him back and forth, beat the absolute hell out of him. And Jey Uso was actually the one to eliminate Kevin Owens. So maybe this whole Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns kind of sort of feud isn't quite over yet. Maybe we will see Kevin Owens and Jey Uso in some sort of form or fashion continue on going forward here. I could definitely see it. Now, let's go back to the WrestleMania main event, Roman Reigns versus Edge. What do you guys think? Are you happy that Edge picked Roman Reigns? Is this the match that you want to see at WrestleMania? Also, who wins? Does Edge dethrone Roman Reigns and bring back the World Heavyweight Championship? Not a bad idea to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship, but dethroning Roman Reigns? I'm not quite sure. about that. So for me, I've been I've been pretty vocal about this match this whole time. And it's not that I don't want to see Edge versus Roman Reigns. It's not like I think it's not main event worthy. It's not like I don't think that it's a big match. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be great, actually. I just thought that with Edge entering the Royal Rumble at the number 1 spot and winning it all, I just thought it made way more sense for Edge to go on main event WrestleMania and then win a WWE championship from it. Kind of defying the odds, right? Like the entire story itself is just defying the odds. Like from beginning to end, every single obstacle that Edge has is something that a normal person cannot get over. But he manages to do it over and over and over again to finally reclaim the thing that he never lost, a world championship. And I didn't want to go into details about it having to be the World Heavyweight Championship. For me, it's just about reclaiming a not a WWE Championship, but a WWE World Championship. So whatever is the top of the line title, that is the one that he never lost, and that is the one that he needs to reclaim. So the story is Edge is forced to retire, right? When someone is forced to retire, they're most likely never going to come back. No one thought that Edge was going to wrestle again, but he overcame the odds and started wrestling again. So Edge returns. Next battle, the Royal Rumble. How many people have been in the Royal Rumble throughout the years? Tons. How many have won? Very, very few. So not only does he have the Royal Rumble obstacle ahead of him, but now he has to enter at number 1 as well. Defying the odds once again, entering the Royal Rumble at number 1 and winning the whole entire thing. Another huge step, defying the odds and doing something that he shouldn't have ever been able to do. The next step is the WrestleMania main event. Not very many people can say that Not very many people can say that they have main evented WrestleMania. Edge gets it once again. And in this case, I would have had Edge beat Drew McIntyre to become the new WWE champion. Defying the odds once again, and everything goes home full circle. That's the way that I would have booked it. Clearly, they had other plans for the WWE championship as of like yesterday. I have no idea why they ended up going this route, but that is the reason why I thought that Edge should have challenged Drew McIntyre. It's the story. So when I tell you this story about defying all of these odds over and over again, and then I say, or you could have a spear versus spear match with Roman Reigns. That's the route you go. Yes, of course, like Roman Reigns versus Edge is going to be an incredible match. It's a high caliber match. It's going to be great, I'm sure, but the story is just so much better on the other hand. So that is the reason why I would have wished that they went that route. Marcel says, someone said the Miz winning is like Peter Avalon beating Kenny Omega. That comparison is wild, man. God. Obi James says, don't give up hope. Daniel Bryan and Roman can still happen at SummerSlam. Yeah, it definitely could, but the thing is that Daniel Bryan wants to become a part-timer. He doesn't want to wrestle full-time anymore. He wants to leave and go spend time with his family. So we are limited with Daniel Bryan as well. We're very limited with him. Ryan says, I have a feeling that John Morrison will face The Miz at WrestleMania for the title. That is one of the most lackluster main events of WrestleMania I've ever seen, if you ask me. Considering that both of them are like 3-30 and their win and loss records. Anthony says, AOW, here are the facts. Edge was teasing the WWE Championship or the NXT title. The only title he was teasing is Universal. I mean, I get why they were teasing the other ones. I personally, me, myself, and I think that story is just so much more compelling to me. That's all. I saw first says, I can't see Edge lose at Mania to Roman since WWE invests too much time with the Edge storyline. But the Golden Child, not Edge, the Golden Child, your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, they've been trying to get him on top of the company forever. He's there. He's finally there. So do you really think that they're going to throw that all away? Can anyone really see WWE? Can anyone really see VKM, Vince McMahon, taking the Universal Championship off of Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? I don't know, man. And there's going to be fans in attendance. Ooh. Fly says, can you scroll up for my question? Sorry, it's long to type again. Let me see here. Okay, so Fly says, I think the question should be, does Roman need the championship to be tribal chief? There could be a story where he says the title didn't make him the head of the table. I do agree. I do agree with that. At the same time, my argument would be, why give it to him in the first place? If he doesn't need it, then why give it to him? They did the same thing with the Fiend, right? They gave the Fiend the title back just to have Roman Reigns come back and win it. And I think that the Fiend is in the same boat. I don't think that the Fiend should have ever won the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. The Fiend should have never won that title. He should have never been in that title picture whatsoever. So I just don't like the whole, like, okay, I lost it, but like I never needed it in the first place. I don't know. It's a hard booking decision that they're going to have at WrestleMania. Edge or Roman Reigns. Did they complete the story with Edge? You can still complete my story with Edge beating Roman Reigns. And I guess that you could even take it a bit further, saying that Edge didn't only get the main event of WrestleMania, but Edge picked the more dominant world champion, someone who couldn't be conquered, and conquered him. Maybe. I could see that being, it would fit the story as well. I just can't see Roman Reigns dropping the title. That's all. That is all. Edwin says, let's just say this. If Edge doesn't beat Roman, who will? Right now, they have no one to beat him. Roman is levels ahead of everyone on SmackDown. I completely agree with you, but at the same time, there are some people floating around. You have Daniel Bryan. I don't think anyone would be mad if Daniel Bryan dethroned Roman Reigns. I don't think so. At least I wouldn't. I wouldn't be mad at that whatsoever. I would totally be fine with Daniel Bryan becoming the Universal Champion. And then going on to later drop the title to maybe a Shinsuke Nakamura or a Cesaro when they're ready. I wouldn't mind that at all. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, I think as long as they put a little bit of love and a little bit of time in them, I think it could happen. Especially with Cesaro. It seems like they've given up on Shinsuke Nakamura once again since Cesaro signed his contract, a renewal for his contract. So, I don't know. Shinsuke Nakamura has just wound up in the Intercontinental Championship scene. So, maybe we could see Big E versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania as well. Plus, we have Apollo Crews, who is now a heel. And, I don't know. He's in the business as well. So, I don't know. JVOJ says, I wouldn't mind if Roman carried the Universal title all the way to 2022. Oh, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. I said it earlier in my Walter post, and I said it on the Friday SmackDown post show as well, is that I like long reigns. I like it when people hold world championships for a long time. And now I don't think every single person needs to have a 2, 3, 4, 500, 600 day reign. I'm not saying that everyone needs to, but there definitely should be a lot more higher reigns than a couple weeks. You know, it's the world championship. You were the best wrestler on that roster. You were supposed to be the number one thing. You are the number one. There is no No one better than you. So to me, when you have those comparisons and then you say, oh, well, the Miz is the WWE champion, it just doesn't quite add up. You know what I mean? So I have no problems with Roman carrying the title into 2022. I'm sure they could probably do it. He's been very entertaining. So they just need to continue to build some people up and have him just plow through them. That's all. And, you know, I wouldn't do what they did with Kevin Owens. I don't want to see every single person feud for 3 or 4 months. I don't think that we need it, especially after having like such crazy matches over and over again. So I don't know. Mark says Edge stopping Miz, cashing in, and then spearing Drew would have been a smart play. Money in the Bank is a joke at this point. It really is. It is. Andre says, you're saying Edge doesn't win against Roman and Daniel Bryan will? Wrestling nostalgia. If Vince put the title on Gold, Edge will go over. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think that Daniel Bryan could dethrone Roman Reigns, and I don't think it would piss people off. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that Daniel Bryan is that high of a caliber of a wrestler and person that he could dethrone him. I'm not saying that I would have him dethrone him, just saying that he could, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. That's all. That is all. James says the 2-chamber match aftermath felt like John Cena winning the WWE Championship inside the chamber, only to lose it to Batista immediately at Elimination Chamber 2010. I did not watch wrestling during that time, so I am not familiar with that situation. Marcel says, I think they've given up on Cesaro in the main event scene. I hope not. I hope not. He belongs there. He belongs there. But you know what always happens, right? Is that they promise people the world, and then once the ink is dry on the contracts, all hell breaks loose and nothing matters. I don't have to do shit for you because you signed a contract and you got to be here. You got to be here the whole time. So sucks to suck, right? I saw first says Vince track record speaks for itself. Vince always goes back to old wrestling nostalgia. If Vince put the title on, I think I already read that. Philip says, do you know why I want the Nexus to return at WrestleMania 37 to attack whoever? I know you talk about it a lot. Fly says, I mean, Cesaro doesn't need Mania to win the WWE Universal Championship to make it big moment. Plus, it should be at one of the big pay-per-views. Yeah, true. Basili says, that's how I would have written it too. Edge versus McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Edge wins. Yep. I think that fits the story right there. Andre says, I love Daniel Bryan, but it's not his time right now. Edge wins the title, and then we get Edge versus Bryan. See, and I'm not mad at that either. I mean, it sucks because like I said, I do not want to see Roman Reigns lose the championship. At the same time, I'm very interested in an Edge versus Daniel Bryan match. Very interested. Lewis says, did not watch wrestling in 2010. A new fan then. No, not necessarily. I mean, I took a break from wrestling for a while. So I watched wrestling from, God, I don't even know. A little bit before the Attitude Era happened. I was watching WWF. And then, during the Attitude Era, I was watching WWF and WCW. And then I took a break. I took a break for a couple years. Sometime around probably 2009-ish, 2008-ish, 2009-ish or so. Came back a couple years later. Why not? I was busy and I just had no interest in it anymore. I was very busy. Very, 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 very busy. I did not have time to watch wrestling. Back then I was in a bunch of bands. I was working full time and I was in high school, like all at the same time. So there was no way that wrestling would fit into that schedule. Marcel says, God, why do people like The Miz in 2021? I have no clue, man. Can't be me though. Can't be me. Joke? No. There's more things to life than watching wrestling. Ayan says, what are your thoughts on the Miz cash in? I think it's stupid and hilarious. But I'm interested in seeing where it goes. If Bobby Lashley becomes the WWE champion, I don't know. Just interested in seeing where it's going. I would have never in a million years would I have put the WWE championship on the Miz in 2021. No way. Marcel says, I wonder if the ratings will do better tomorrow. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, they better hope that they get a boost in ratings tomorrow, because with a new champion like that, an unexpected champion too, I don't think anyone really pictured the Miz walking out of the Elimination Chamber as the WWE champion. So that should be a boost right there. Just people saying like, what the hell is going on? Like, I need to see what's going on here. That and another, what I thought was a solid pay-per-view. So I don't know. Hopefully they do. JVOJ says, I stopped watching half of 2010. And mind you, I was only 8 and I thought that year was particularly boring. Yeah, and those shows weren't very good during that time either, right? Because I remember they relied heavily on celebrity guests and stuff, hosting Raw and stuff like that. It was like, no thanks. No thanks, bro. And that was a bigger, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, the Royal Rumble ratings did absolutely nothing for Raw. Nothing whatsoever. So, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see. Lewis says, did not watch 2012, then from 2015 to 2021. I watched a couple of shows, then why not was for the guy asking why people like The Miz in 2021. And the word joke is meaning I was joking about the new fan. Oh, okay, fair enough. Let's see. Raphael says, I think Lashley will beat The Miz for it, and then at Mania we probably get Lashley versus McIntyre, or maybe even Lashley versus Lesnar. Either that or we get The Miz versus Morrison. There's quite a few options. That we could see. James says that if The Miz does wear the WWE title upside down, he's the new GTS mother effing champion. All right, let's get on here. We finished this match here. We finished the Roman Reigns match. Edge it's official. Edge has challenged Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Big match. Big match. Next up, we saw a backstage segment here with Bad Bunny holding the 24/7 championship, talking trash to The Miz. I can't remember exactly how it started, but I think The Miz was like, what are you doing here? And Bad Bunny was like, well, I'm a champion. And he said, why are you here? You're not a champion, are you? Which probably would have been a good spot to be like, no, but I'm the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, and like hold it up. But he just kind of like looked down. The Miz pushed Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny slapped the living hell out of The Miz. Slapped that man into next week. The camera panned away to focus on The Miz, and when The Miz came back to look all angry and pissed off and get in Bad Bunny's face, your boy Damian Priest was standing in the middle saying, nah, bro. And I enjoyed this because I thought it was hilarious to have Damian Priest standing in between The Miz and Bad Bunny, and Bad Bunny is just being one of those chicken shit assholes, which I love so much. Just holding up his 24/7 championship, like saying like, you can't touch me. So that's why I liked this. I don't know if my feelings about this are going to change, considering that The Miz is the WWE champion now. It's going to be interesting. Raphael says, another post show, another day of Philip talking about the Nexus. I don't get it, man. I'm assuming that he's probably young, would be my guess. I don't know. I don't know. It is very interesting that no one showed up to chase Bad Bunny around. R-Truth hasn't been seen. Maybe Bad Bunny's going to hold this 24/7 championship for a while. I know that they put it on him because he was on Saturday Night Live last night, and I believe he performed with the 24/7 championship in his hand, carrying it around. So I'm sure they wanted that publicity. I know that they posted a bunch of things on their Twitter yesterday. They were like quote tweeting, saying like, oh, I know who that is. So I don't know. So if this carries over into the WWE Championship scene, that's not what I want to see. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see Bad Bunny challenging for the World Championship. And I certainly don't want to see Bad Bunny punking the World Champion either. So it's kind of I don't know. It's a really fishy. It's a really fishy subject. Daryl says, "Yo, AOW, I'm back. Sorry, late to the show. No worries, man. No worries. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Philip, man, you gotta stay on subject, man. You just gotta stay on subject. If there's ever anything Carlito or Nexus related, trust me, we will talk about them. But you gotta stay on topic, man. You gotta stay on topic." Lewis says the Bad Bunny thing is fun for what it is until Truth gets his title back. When Bad Bunny's run ends. Words difficult. Yada yada yada. Yeah, so I'm assuming he might have it for a while though. That would be my guess. Raphael says, I definitely don't see the Miz walking into WrestleMania as the champion. His booking has been too inconsistent. Surely he's going to be a transitional champion, right? I would assume so. But so what if the Miz is just one of those wrestlers that's like, well, I'll just have John Morrison interfere, or I'll just have Bobby Lashley interfere. I mean, maybe they could have some sort of like cage match where someone, I mean, you could still technically interfere in those as well, but maybe they'll go that route. I don't know though. I don't know. Maybe he'll lose it tomorrow. He could lose it tomorrow. Fly Variety says, can see it now. Winner takes all. Tag team WWE Championship and 24/7 Championship match. Oh, man. Shovis says, did you know The Miz is the first ever 2-time Grand Slam champion? I did not know that. That is very interesting. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for him. I don't have problem with The Miz or The Miz himself being WWE champion. I just have a problem with how The Miz has been booked the past year, and that he's booked that way and WWE champion. Like, it just doesn't add up. The Miz in his Intercontinental Championship run, that was that was incredible. I loved that. I loved that incarnation of The Miz right there. So if he was that way right now, I wouldn't mind. But it's just the booking, man. It's just the booking. Fly, that definitely is the WWE thing. Definitely. Green Thumb says, what's the deal with the Fiend? I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine. I was really expecting to see the Fiend tonight, but didn't happen. And maybe it'll happen on Raw, but it has to happen soon. If the end goal is to have Randy Orton versus the Fiend at WrestleMania, you're kind of running out of time to make that happen. I don't know. And I don't think that this Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss feud stuff and things has really helped carry this out any further. They've really focused on it when it was beneficial to them, but they never really, like, they always just forgot about it for a week or 2 weeks, or they kept going on with other stuff. So I really don't think it's benefited whatsoever. Marcel says the SNL fans were saying that title looks trash on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, because it does. It does. It's the worst. I can't stand the look of the 24/7 championship. It is trash. Absolute trash. Philip says, I'm 12 years old. That's cool, man. That's cool. I figured you were pretty young. Let's see here. Shelvis says, remember when MVP said that he would cost Drew the championship on Raw last year? Long-term booking? Question mark? Perhaps. Not mad at that. Warrior says, I just hope Lashley squashes him and we get Lashley versus McIntyre versus Lesnar. That's a main event level match. I would like that. My only complaint with that would be is that we still we need that Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar match, that solo one-on-one. Like, I need that. So it would be cool to have the triple threat, but man, we need to see that singles match too. Miley Man says, I'm shocked R-Truth didn't show up on SNL and win the 24/7 championship from Bad Bunny. That would have been hilarious. Yeah, that would have been pretty fun. If he beat him during a skit or something like that after his performance, or I haven't watched SNL in since the golden days, so I have no idea how their show is formatted or anything, but I'm very surprised that they didn't do anything with it. And I'm still surprised that Bad Bunny has it. James says, fatal 5-way qualifying match at Fastlane. Drew versus Sheamus versus Lashley versus Strowman versus Kofi. Winner faces Miz for the WWE title at WrestleMania. But I think most of us are pretty much on the same board here. Most of us don't think that the Miz will have the WWE Championship going into WrestleMania. I don't think so. WWE doesn't do long-term booking. Yeah, not necessarily. No. I would paint that as a coincidence if that happened. Because we just heard a couple days ago that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing with the WWE Championship. So this was just last minute. All of this was last minute. Fly says the Miz should win the 24/7 championship and destroy it. Why the Miz though? That doesn't really fit the Miz's character. Someone should get rid of it though. Someone should, because I'm tired of it. I've been tired of it for a long time. Warrior says, I want the singles match too, but I don't see Drew staying out of any title picture going into Mania. True. Who wins though? Who wins that match? Brock Lesnar. Well, Bobby Lashley defending his WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. That's a big match. Very big match. Bobby Lashley has been booked probably one of the best out of anyone else on the roster currently. So I'm happy that they booked him the way that he did. That's what I was saying in my predictions, is that if he loses, if Bobby Lashley loses the United States Championship, he should just not look back. Who cares? We're done with the United States Championship, right? Eyes set on the prize. We're coming for the WWE Championship, and it looks like they did that, so I'm happy about that. Flash says, I hated Bobby Lashley as US champ, but I want him as the WWE champion. Why is that? Really? You didn't like him as US champ? I think that his run wasn't the greatest because of all of the crazy matches that they did over and over and over and over and over again with it was Apollo Crews and then MVP and stuff like that. So I can see people not really enjoying his reign because of that, but his booking, matches aside, his booking has been pretty great. Bobby Lashley has been looking very strong. He's been absolutely destroying Matt Riddle. So let's see here. Roman will win everything. Maybe, man. Jamel says they could turn the 24/7 championship into a TV title and help build new stars. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that the last thing that WWE needs though is more titles, because they don't even know how to book the ones that they have. We didn't see any sort of tag match tonight. No Raw or SmackDown tag team match tonight. We didn't see a Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship tonight. No Intercontinental Championship tonight. Lots of titles left on the show. And I saw someone in chat say that the pay-per-view was 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Less than an episode of Raw. Just a little bit longer than an episode of SmackDown. Kind of crazy. Imagine how good their shows would be if they booked them like this. If they actually gave the match quality that they gave tonight on an episode of Raw or SmackDown, they'd be in a much better position than they are. But who knows? Warrior says Drew, AJ, and Lashley are the only considered strong book guys on Raw. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. Philip says, now can we talk about the Nexus and Carlito? There's nothing to talk about. for the Nexus or Carlito, man. There's nothing. I'm sorry. There's nothing to talk. There's no news on anything. There's nothing to talk about. I promise you. I promise you, my friend. When the time comes and there is news for them, I promise you, you'll be the first one to know. All right? I promise you. Let's see here. Raphael says, now I'm convinced that they pulled Keith Lee out of the match and put in Morrison because he originally was supposed to win it, but then Vince soured on him and decided to give it to Riddle instead. That could definitely be a possibility. Definitely. I could definitely see that happening because there's no way that Matt Riddle would have pinned Bobby Lashley to win. And man, I wouldn't call it believable to have Matt Riddle pin Keith Lee either to win it. So throwing in John Morrison, of course, I think people knew at that point that that Matt Riddle was probably going to win it because, I mean, let's face it, John Morrison loses pretty much everything he's involved in unless it really, really matters to get him somewhere else, and then he loses it. Isaiah says, how would you book Riddle with his reign and who would he face at Mania? I don't know. I don't know who would face Matt Riddle at Mania at this point. I'm sure there's lots of people that could. Mustafa Ali would be pretty good. As long as they got rid of Retribution. The Foot Clan is just terrible, man. Trying to think who else is on Raw they don't really use. I don't know. I would book him strong though, and maybe have some open challenges for the United States Championship. I always think open challenges are pretty interesting. It's an easy way to book a title match. It's an easy way to get to pad up someone's statistics for their title defenses and stuff like that. So I'm always down for that. Fly Variety says Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is a perfect example. I love Xavier Woods, man. He's super talented. So I would love that. I would love it. Zach says quickly, completely off topic, do you think NXT needs another women's title? Saw rumors of Triple H talking about it just under a week ago. Interesting. Another women's title. I don't know. I mean, I guess if they could handle it. If they could handle it, I'd be fine with that. Sure. There's a lot of women on the NXT roster, but if Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai win the women's tag team championships, and I think that they should just stay in NXT. Really, I think that they should just stay in NXT. It makes so much more sense. So I would just keep those there, and then there you go. You have your other women's championship. I wouldn't mind that. Harrison says, I'm back and subscribe. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We've had a lot of new subscribers tonight, so thank you guys. I appreciate that. DNM Travel says the show started bad, but then turned good. Overall, a decent show. You didn't like the opening match? I thought that was my favorite Elimination Chamber of the night. I much preferred the SmackDown one over the Raw one. Yeah, I would love Xavier Woods to have a United States Championship run. Marcel says, apparently on the pre-show, Asuka said she would be defending the title tonight. Really? So this is the first pre-show that I didn't win because we were out. We bought a kitchen suite today, and it took forever. We were there for like 3 hours, I swear to God. And then we had to go do a couple errands, and then we had to go grocery shopping. So I literally got home like 3 minutes before the actual pay-per-view started. So this is one of the few times that I did not catch the pre-show. And I didn't have time to pay attention to it either. When people say Xavier Woods, I hear it's Xavier Woods. Is Philip? Yeah, come on, Philip, man, come on. I don't want to have to keep timing you out, dude. I don't want to have to do that. Just chill, please. Please, chill. Flash says, I wouldn't mind to see Riddle versus Ricochet for the U.S. title. There you go. I would love for that. The official Miguel says Cesaro's elimination deflated me. Yeah, that was sad, man. That was sad. Very sad. DNM says, my bad. I mean, the beginning was good. Just it was mixed with the bad stuff a little bit, but it was a decent show. Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought this was a pretty decent show. Pretty decent show. Their last pay-per-views, like I said earlier, is pretty good. Pretty good. Rated C says there was a report saying that there might be an NXT Evolve and the show got a title as well. I had heard about that, but I haven't stopped to look at all the news I missed while I was gone when my power was out. So I'm still a little bit behind in things. Marcel says the women's tag match sucked. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And we will get there. So yeah, Matt Riddle, the bro, he is our new United States champion. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I saw it first says now with Peacock having Fastlane as their first pay-per-view event, WWE pull our legs and have Drew go over at the event. You know, it's actually very smart of them to have Fastlane be the first event on Peacock because there's going to be a lot of people that are probably going to be confused. People are probably not going to know what the hell is going on. And so to do that with WrestleMania, I think would have been a huge mistake. So people will have trouble getting on and figuring out, like, there's still, I guarantee you that when Fastlane is on, someone is going to try to sign into their WWE Network account and be like, what the hell's going on? Why can't I watch Fastlane? Even though the entire world has been talking about this for like a month, 2 months now. They've announced it on TV. So there's always going to be those people. So Shelva says, when does the WWE Network move over? I'm not certain on the exact date. All I know of what they said was that Fastlane will be the first pay-per-view on Peacock. So for people, this is for everyone in the United States, by the way. If you are outside of the United States, you will still have and use the WWE Network. If you are inside the United States, so Gar Rock says that March 18th is the first day. So if you're inside the United States, if you want to watch WWE Network after or on March 18th, you will need to sign up for a Peacock account. There are 2 Peacock plans. One is like $4.99, I believe, and the other one is $9.99. The one for $4.99 has commercials. The one for $9.99 does not have commercials. Those are the differences. Also, if you are a Comcast customer, you get the $4.99 one for free. So if you have Comcast, if you have Xfinity for your TV or for your internet, you already have it. You just got to sign in. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. You have all of Peacock, but you have ads. If you want to upgrade to the $9.99 one, you don't have to pay the $9.99. You just have to pay the difference. So you just have to pay the $5 difference between the $4.99 and the $9.99 one. A lot of information. I know. I apologize. I still want to make my Peacock video because I still think that there's a lot to talk about in it. But that's kind of the gist of it. So remember that on March 18th, there's not a lot of information going around to my knowledge as to how it's going to work. We don't know if they're just going to transfer people over to Peacock and have the subscriptions continue. We don't know if we're going to have to cancel them or anything. I don't know. So I'll definitely let everyone know when I see that information come up as well. Flash has off-topic question. What do you expect from Adam Cole this next Wednesday? I just expect Adam Cole to be like, hey guys, I'm sorry. Everything is fine. The Undisputed Era is fine. There's no problem with the Undisputed Era. We're all best friends. That's what I expect. But no, honestly, I think that he'll probably just, I'm assuming that he's going to be a heel, right? And he'll battle on with the Undisputed Era. And I think that Strong and Fish will probably side with O'Reilly. They'll have their feud. Maybe Adam Cole will win that feud. Adam Cole will move up to Raw or SmackDown, and then the Undisputed Era will continue their thing there. Adam Cole will continue his thing on the main roster, and then one day the rest of Undisputed Era will show up, and they will just randomly be attacking someone that Adam Cole is feuding with, and then they will reunite. That is my guess. I saw first says Peacock Premium is going to be the exclusive home for the WWE Network. It's $4.99. Yes. So yeah. So To be clear, if you're inside the United States, the WWE Network will not exist for you anymore. You won't have it. Everything will be on Peacock. And the cool thing is that you get everything on Peacock. It's already on there. So, like, I saw that people were complaining. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay $9.99 for Peacock. Listen, if you pay $9.99 for the WWE Network, you're still paying $9.99 for it, but you get the entire Peacock library too. And I am currently watching the entire series of King of Queens because I have Comcast. So I have the Peacock Premium account already. It was given to me. So you get all that extra stuff. The Office is on there. Everybody Loves Raymond is on there. Like, there's just tons and tons of like sitcoms and great stuff to watch. Marcel says, you're going to watch the women's tournament tomorrow. What are they airing for it? Is it the rest of the US side? Is it the Japanese side? Flash says, I think that Yui will continue, but they'll eject O'Reilly. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Have it go the opposite. What do I think is next for Drew? We'll talk about that in just a minute. We're almost there. We're almost there. Where are we at? Oh, hour and 40 minutes. Okay. Let's see here. What do you think about Drew? Oh, sorry, I just already read that. Safa says, I loved it when Omos, my apologies, broke AJ Styles out of the chamber. It's not illegal because Mark Henry broke out in 2015. I will talk about that as well in a second, because I did like that, but it was just kind of weird. Adam Cole as heel would be weird. Adam Cole was a heel. No, I'm saying that it would be weird to have O'Reilly be the breakout one from it. That's what I was saying. So for me, I'm picturing heel Adam Cole, babyface Undisputed Era. I think what Flash said was that heel Undisputed Era and babyface Kyle O'Reilly. I thought that would be weird. Kind of, like the opposite of what I had envisioned of what would happen. Rocco says Baker versus Anna Jay, and then Nyla Rose versus Ty Conti, and I think the Japan side. The Heat 316 says Friends. I'm not sure. I'll check for you though. I will check for you. That's one of my favorite shows. I own every single episode of Friends on DVD. I've never watched them on DVD. Because who has DVD? How's it going, Yash? Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Can I search? Friends. No, Friends is not on here. Baby Felix. What the hell? Interesting. Okay. D&M says there were rumors that Edge would change his mind about a world title match at WrestleMania, maybe Edge versus The Miz. Dude, that would be so annoying if they did that. I'd be really frustrated with that. And I guess I'll ask Marcel. Marcel, do you think that this rumored finish for the women's tournament is real? Because if it is, I have a huge problem with it. Flash says, AOW, you are a legend for liking Friends. Friends is one of my favorite shows, man. I've watched that show from front to back a million times. It's so good. So good. I love it. That's been like my thing lately. It's just watching like entire shows from start to finish. Shelby says, completely off topic, that 70 show is the greatest of all time. I wouldn't mind going through and watching all of that. I've seen a lot of episodes of it, but never the entire thing. There was something I wanted to read. Nicholas says, any thoughts on the Intercontinental title picture for Mania? I wouldn't mind another ladder match since there's so much talent. They could definitely do something like that. Marcel says it's true, but man, that's trash. That's absolutely trash, Marcel. I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate it. Where am I from? I am from Oregon, man. From Oregon. Oregon. Scroll up for your comments. James, it says you deleted it. Oh, I see. I hope WWE brings back the Andre the Giant Memorial and Women's Over the Top Battle Royals for WrestleMania this year. The start of a pandemic took those 2 matches away. That's true. That's true. I'm very interested in seeing what happens at WrestleMania. Marcel says even if she isn't going to win. Yeah, because, okay, the reason why is because I thought that, for me, I thought that whoever won the tournament would be the one to dethrone Hikaru Shida. So for me, that person should be Thunder Rosa or Britt Baker. That's just me. That's what I thought. So, like, I don't like that they're not, basically. If you want to know, just DM me. DM me and I'll tell you. I don't want to talk about, I feel kind of bad for talking about it, but I just want to know. If you want to know, DM me and I'll tell you. DM me on Instagram and I'll let you know. As soon as the show goes off, I'll reply to all of you. Let's see here. Safa says I binge watch Friends and that 70s show like every month. What is that 70s shows on? What platform can you watch that on? I might watch that when I'm done with King of Queens. Jonathan says, not sure if you said it already. I just chimed in, but what would have been your plan for the WWE title tonight and going forward? I probably just would have had Drew McIntyre retain it. I would have had Drew McIntyre take it all the way to WrestleMania. I would have had Edge dethrone Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania and become the WWE champion. Philip says, good night. I'm going to leave. I'm sorry about the Nexus and our Carlito. I just wanted to return. No worries, man. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate you being here. Yeah, if you want to know about the women's match, you can DM Marcel as well. If you have his IG or whatever. DNM says, to be honest, I actually wanted Drew versus Lashley for the title at WrestleMania. Maybe Lashley can continue his damage with the Miz costing him the briefcase. Not like I want Miz to lose the briefcase because I felt bad. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know, man. Sharma says, good night, bro. Thank you, man. Have a good night. Flash says, who is an Office fan? I've enjoyed The Office as well. I think we just finished watching most of them. I think we skipped like the first and second one or something like that, or maybe just the first and the last one. So I do need to go through and watch those at some point. Basili says, yeah, the Orton Bliss feud is boring and Randy is my all-time favorite wrestler. I grew up watching Randy Orton. I started watching wrestling in 2004. I was 7 years old and it was around that time. Yeah, man, speaking of Randy Orton, man, like I don't ever feel like I've seen someone heat up so much and then just get ice cold. It's really hard to believe that a couple months ago, Randy Orton was one of the best things to watch on Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton was one of the very specific reasons that you tuned in to watch that show. The whole Legend Killer stuff was fantastic when he did the concerto to Edge and Matt Hardy and all of that stuff. Like, that was good stuff. That was really, really good stuff. And now, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Eliminated swiftly from the Elimination Chamber match by Kofi Kingston. What a shame. Molly Man says, off topic question, AOW, but what has been your favorite post show so far? I don't know. My favorite post show, probably the first one, or probably the Royal Rumble one. Probably the first one, just because it was crazy and it was just my first one to like do, so it was kind of like awkward and like doing everything was just kind of weird. But I enjoyed it. And then the Royal Rumble one, just because it was insane. Or wait, was it the Royal Rumble one or was it TLC? Hold on, let me look. One of the post shows was absolutely insane. And I can't remember which one it was now off the top of my head. I think it might have been TLC, but like my TLC post show had like 10,000 views. Yeah, it was TLC. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Yeah, the TLC post show was crazy. When Kenta showed up, that was a good one too. That one was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I'll never forget the Brody Lee one either, just because it was really difficult. I wanted to do one, but like I didn't at the same time. because I never want to be that person that like capitalizes off of someone passing or anything like that. But I thought the episode of Dynamite dedicated to Brody it was beautiful, and it was so good. It was so hard to watch, and it was so hard to talk about. Like, I think it was only like 30 or 40 minutes that I was live for it, just because, and everything else is like 2 hours. So that was a really emotional one that I enjoyed doing, but for different reasons. Chloe says, AOW, sorry I'm late. I slept all the way through Elimination Chamber. Oh no, Chloe. You have a new WWE champion. The Miz. My favorite, Flash says my favorite post-show were the one after Winter is Coming and Kenta appearing. Yeah, dude, the Kenta one was great too. Although, like, I mean, it was fantastic that Kenta showed up, but I had this like whole idea planned for the beginning of the show where I was just gonna like talk about where Kenta is and why he hasn't showed up and what he's doing and why he's trolling us, and then he actually showed up, and I was like, damn it, I'm a week too late for this. Sharma says, bro, can I take your channel membership? What do you mean? You can't. I don't have memberships. I don't have that yet. I haven't unlocked it, man. You have to have like 10,000 subscribers to get the membership button, if that's what you're talking about. It's crazy. You should unlock it when you get monetization, you would think, but you can't. Chloe says, I woke up and saw you post the Miz as WWE champion, and I was confused. Yeah. Seems like the Miz worked out a deal with Bobby Lashley here. You know, I posted when MVP and the Miz were talking, I was completely joking when I said WWE champion the Miz versus Bobby Lashley is going to be a main event of WrestleMania. Completely joking. I never thought that was going to be happening or even a possibility. My apologies. Rocco says the spoiler is false. I'm pretty sure the finals are live. It's not the finals. It's the ones leading up to the finals. So the final two, or the final one on the US side is what I'm talking about. Not the winner overall. D&M says Lashley is long overdue for a WWE title run. He needs it. Yeah, I think Bobby Lashley deserves the world after after having to go through that feud with Sami Zayn. Bobby Lashley deserves the world after that. The American finals are live, I meant. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that they're not real. I hope not. I saw first as watch Psych on Peacock. Great show. I've already seen all of Psych. I love that show. It's very good. The movie's good too. I liked it. Flash says, mark my words, by the end of 2021, AOW will be reading a chapter of some wrestler's book at Botchamania. Hey, I'm down for that. That'd be a lot of fun. You know, man, I want to be on Quizlemania so bad. I mean, they probably require that you have to have a face cam and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't even know if they would want someone like me on there, but man, one day I would love to be on Quizlemania. I would definitely make a fool of myself. I'd probably be like the loser. Like I'd probably have like no points, but I mean, I think it would be so much fun. Rocco says, because the semifinals of Riho versus Rosa is Sunday, so that means Wednesday, March 3rd would be the finals. Yeah, but they've recorded content for those, I believe. Because I've seen a few things, quite a few things. So I don't know. I hope it's not, but maybe it is. Rated C says, what are your thoughts on Kenny versus John in the exploding barbed wire match? I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. Tamer says, I think McIntyre wins the title again at WrestleMania, but this time in front of a crowd. Definitely possible. D&M says, I don't mind Edge winning the Rumble, but I would rather have Lashley win. Lashley winning the Rumble would have been pretty cool. The only problem is that he was the United States champion, and I wouldn't want the Royal Rumble winner to be the United States champion, and I wouldn't want him to have to drop it. Sami Zayn to be champion, not in his current state. I wouldn't like that. Do I know who Nick Gage is? Yes, I do. Flash says March 3rd will be a wild day for both AEW and NXT. What is NXT doing on March 3rd? Oh God. Not again, right? NXT March 3rd. Results? How the hell does someone have March 3rd NXT results? Oh, so it's yeah, okay. So Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez for the tag titles. Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan versus MSK for the titles as well. I saw it first as Lars Sullivan training in boxing, hoping to become a bare knuckle fighting. I saw that. That's wild. Very wild. Raphael says, can we talk about how stupid Randy Orton's elimination was? No Fiend appearance. When that seemingly what they've been building up to for months, and also he just randomly got rolled up 10 minutes in. Yeah, I don't quite understand. I don't understand that. Sharma says, who will be the Miz WrestleMania opponent? I'm not sure. I think we've landed on McIntyre. We've landed on Bobby Lashley. We've landed on Sheamus. We've landed on Brock Lesnar. There's quite a few. So yeah, let's get into, actually before we move on, let's get into, because we still have one more match before we get to the main event match. So this was the tag match. Big Oof and Shayna Baszler defending their WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble winner Bianca Belair. Why was this match even booked? And also, why is Reginald a simp for Sasha Banks? Why is that? Why did Reginald somehow, some way just wake up one day and say like, hey, I'm going to stan Sasha Banks. Like, I'm just going to simp for her all day, every night in my Carmella t-shirt, by the way. What's the deal? What is the deal with this? I don't get it. Why did this match have to happen? Don't you think they don't need to tell a story for Bianca Belair to pick Sasha Banks at WrestleMania? Sasha didn't have to lose this match for Bianca to be like, oh, well, now I'm going to challenge you. Like, what? I don't get it. And then Reginald ended up, okay, so if you didn't watch, what ended up happening, this match was very subpar, by the way. Very subpar. So what ended up happening was Reginald came out towards the end of the match, and it seemed like he gave Sasha Banks some simp superpowers at first. He kind of like hyped her up, and she was going after Big Oof, I believe it was at the time. And then Reginald threw in a wine bottle and was kind of like acting like she was going to use it in a match to like cheat. She didn't end up doing it. That caused the distraction, and that is where Big Oof hit her with her Samoan drop and then won the match to retain the titles. Sasha Banks is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Okay? Shouldn't you be hyping her up for WrestleMania? Why would you book this match if this was the route you were going to take? If this was the route you wanted to take, you could have had Big Oof and Shayna Baszler beat up Naomi and Lana. Right? That would have made sense. Big Oof and Shayna Baszler could beat up Lana and Naomi. That's fine. One of them could have pinned Lana. Not the end of the world. You have yourself somewhat of a decent match if you can. And then you move on until they inevitably lose the titles to Raquel and Dakota in NXT. It makes no sense. And Marcel says, why is Sasha getting pinned by Nia? Why? Of all people, you should be building up Sasha Banks and you should be building up Bianca Belair. Because to me, this is a main event of WrestleMania. This is one of them. I really think that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair could be a main event of one of the nights of WrestleMania. WrestleMania is 2 nights again. So you could have this on one night and Roman and Edge on the other night. But if they continue to do this, no one's going to care. And you can't argue that she was distracted. It's so played out. Being distracted and losing on WWE TV does not protect you. It makes you look dumb. That's all it does. It makes you look stupid. Sasha Banks looks like a geek. She's supposed to be the best women's wrestler on SmackDown. She is holding the women's world championship for them. She's the best. It does not get better than Sasha Banks in the SmackDown women's division. But she's able to be distracted. Like, I've never understood this stuff. I get the distractions and stuff like that. Like, it's not like that's some sort of weird thing that I don't understand. I understand those, but just for these people, why do you do them for these people? These are supposed to be your A-listers. I would never have Sasha Banks, and I would never have Bianca Belair take an L on the road to WrestleMania. No way. No way, no how. So this match was super frustrating. And if this match wasn't on here, I would have thought this pay-per-view was great. This one was just a real stinker for sure. Fly says Bianca is obviously choosing Sasha because she hasn't even showed up to confront Asuka. Yeah, I mean, she was on Raw, but I think it was just a backstage segment. And that's the whole thing that's frustrating too, is that Edge won the men's Royal Rumble. He's been on Raw. He's been on NXT. He's been on SmackDown. He's had full segments in the beginning. He's opened up the shows. He's been seen all throughout the show talking to tons of people. Bianca has not. Bianca's been featured on SmackDown. She had a really subpar Royal Rumble victory promo that I remember not really liking that much because of the banter that happened during it. She was in a backstage segment, I believe, on Raw, and that's it. Like, why? Why not? Edge should have opened up Raw, and Bianca Belair should have opened up SmackDown. That's how I would have done it. Edge doesn't belong to a brand, but since Bianca does, you would give her the moment on SmackDown, give Edge the moment on Raw, and then Edge could have appeared on that episode of SmackDown too, and then Bianca could have appeared later on in the next episode of Raw, later on. That's how I would have done it. That makes so much more sense to me. Raphael says, you wouldn't have Bianca or Sasha take an L? What about both at the same time?
It's such good shit.
There we go. JBOJ says, I'm a knockout. I got work tomorrow. See you. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's always great chatting with you. Yeah, we're a little bit over 2 hours. It's crazy. Crazy. Nicholas says, it seems like there's no direction for the Raw women's title either. Yeah, completely, man. Directionless. There's no one even in the building for the Raw women's division. It's crazy at this moment. Safa says, when will Edge confront the WWE champion Kenny Omega on Dynamite? That's a good question, man. Obviously, he didn't want the beef. He didn't want the beef with WWE champion Kenny Omega. He cowered, and he picked Roman Reigns tonight. What a coward, man. Chloe says, Becky Lynch Royal Rumble pick was better than Bianca, and she just showed up once and called out Ronda Rousey. Yeah. So, okay. While we're talking about it, I may have mentioned this on Friday, but there's a couple more people here, so I'm going to mention it now as well. Here's what I think that WWE should do if they're going to have the Royal Rumble and then the Elimination Chamber and then WrestleMania. So, you have your Royal Rumble, right? You have a men and a women's Royal Rumble, just like you do every single year. You have a men and a women win the Royal Rumble just like you do every single year. So, whatever show those people belong on, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, they have to make their decision on that show. So if a Raw person wins the Royal Rumble, they must pick the very next night who they're going to face at WrestleMania. There's no dragging it out. There's no pretending you don't know what you're doing. So by this time, by SmackDown, you will have a clear picture of 2 of your WrestleMania matches. One for the women, one for the men. Now, where does this leave us? This leaves us with 4 weeks to build up towards the Elimination Chamber. Oh man, what can you do for the Elimination Chamber? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. You can have a men's number 1 contender and a women's number 1 contender Elimination Chamber match to determine the opposite challengers for WrestleMania. So in this case, Edge picked Roman Reigns. So the men's Elimination Chamber match tonight should have been to crown the number 1 contender for Drew McIntyre. Now we'll say that that Bianca Belair picked Sasha Banks. That means that the other one should have been a Raw Women's Championship number 1 contender Elimination Chamber match. Then by tonight, you would have had your WrestleMania main events kick Fastlane out the door because no one gives a shit about that pay-per-view. Now you have a beautiful amount of time to book WrestleMania. You have a perfect amount of time to fit in the stories, to fit in the feuds, and it all just flows beautifully. But no, they have to make everything difficult. They have to make everything make no sense. Because even at that point, if you had your WrestleMania main events, you could have qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber. You could really make being in that match important. And you could really make being in that match make sense. You could have sort of a beat the clock time thing going for all the qualifying matches. So whoever wins their qualifying matches the fastest, they would be the final entrant into the Elimination Chamber. I mean, this one didn't make any sense whatsoever. And we actually didn't even talk about it, which I forgot. So I will bring that up. Oh, wait, because it didn't even happen yet. That's why. So on the Raw side, we had a gauntlet match to determine who would enter the Elimination Chamber last. But we didn't on the SmackDown side. So it's just consistency, right? Consistency. And then when you do things like this, of course you can change them up every now and then and do something a little bit different because no one wants to see the same cookie cutter formula every single year after year after year for 30 years. But you have a nice formula. You have a nice carved path all the way to WrestleMania. There's no hiccups. There's no doing weird things. Like the MIZ was announced for the Elimination Chamber and then they took him out. Like, you don't need all that stuff. You would just have a clear path. Clear path. And thank you. That is a message from Bookerman AOW. You're welcome. You are welcome. Chloe says Asuka can't have an Elimination Chamber match. Those pods going to be empty. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Fly says, so I'm guessing it looks like Lacey Evans versus Charlotte Flair versus Asuka with Lacey winning with Ric Flair distraction. And God, I hope that doesn't happen. So Lacey's probably not going to be competing whatsoever because she's pregnant. So she's gone. I wouldn't expect to see Lacey Evans anymore unless they allow her to stick around as some sort of manager role for maybe Peyton Royce or something. Maybe. Scott says WrestleMania has never been booked good lately. It's always rushed. It doesn't make any sense. I love WrestleMania build-ups. Yeah, it's the biggest show of the year, right? It should feel big. Last year's WrestleMania didn't feel big. This year's WrestleMania does not feel big. The Royal Rumble did not feel big going in. Elimination Chamber did not. They have not hyped up their pay-per-views whatsoever recently. They've delivered, which is completely different from being hyped up. Flash says, AOW, got to drop it here. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're going a little bit long tonight. We're about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Andre says, don't you think that they do this on purpose so they make people talk about it? I don't think so. Enjoy the rest of the night. You too, man. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to see you here. Fly says the Ric Flair and Lacey thing was just terrible. Yeah, I hated it. I'm glad that it's the end of that. Basili says, AEW, you know what the WWE pay-per-views remind me of? That person that is actually smart, does none of the homework or classwork assignments, but get a perfect score on an exam. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like, even though this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view was a disaster on paper, it turned out pretty well. It really did. Both the chamber matches were good. The outcomes were a little bit weird tonight, I will say that. The triple threat match was good. Chambers were good. Even though that the Roman and Daniel Bryan match was like 2 minutes long, I thought that that was even good as well. This pay-per-view was too short, in my opinion. I think 2.5 hours, maybe a little bit too short. But yeah, I kind of agree. It is kind of the same thing. Chloe says, I really liked when Roman picked Triple H in a match at WrestleMania and they had a roadblock pay-per-view where Dean Ambrose faced Triple H for the title. That was amazing in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't watch back then, I don't think, during that time. Obi James says, I just realized Peyton Royce's singles run will now start that Lacey is pregnant. I hope so. Peyton Royce is very talented, so I would love to see her shine. How do I feel about this year's Mania, says R2S? Not quite sure at this point. Not quite sure. Raphael says they're calling it the Road to Mania, but everything still feels directionless, no hype, and still feels like they're taking it one step at a time as opposed to building to Mania like they should. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Warrior says, shout out to Daniel Bryan for that smooth transition from the spear to the S-Lock. Yeah, it was beautiful. Beautiful. Andre says, I think so. Personally, I'm intrigued with what's going to happen tonight with the Miz and the WWE title. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are intrigued to see what happens, but I don't think that this is good booking by any means. There's a difference. So let me explain. A fantastic show is a fantastic show, right? The Miz winning the WWE Championship is more like a car wreck to me. A car wreck is not something that you want to happen. It's not something that you want to see. But for some reason, every single person on the road is slowing down to see what's going on, and they're watching and they're staring. That's what I would compare this situation to. Everyone's kind of tune in and see what the hell's going on with the Miz and how they're going to get out of it, or what they're going to do going forward. Not necessarily that it was a good idea. That's just my opinion, though. Marcel says they seem to be building Shane O'Mac versus Braun. Yeah, God, no one wants to watch that, man. Usually every Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is 3 hours long. Are they? WWE.com. Or actually, I need to go to watch.wwe.com. Okay, I'll look this up and then we'll go on after that. Chloe says, if The Miz won the WWE title and Morrison the United States title, it would have been a good start to their redemption tag team-wise. But, I mean, they're not booked well enough to be in those positions. They're just not, in my opinion. What am I looking for here? Elimination Chamber. Where are you? There it is. So this year's Elimination Chamber was 2 hours and 30 minutes. Last year's was 3 hours and 36 minutes. 2019 was 3 hours and 14. 2018 was 3 hours and 20. So yeah, they're all about 3 hours ish. This is the shortest Elimination Chamber pay-per-view ever. The Elimination Chamber in 2010 was 2 hours and 39 minutes. And this one was 9 minutes shorter. Interesting. Very interesting. Rocco says they have to capitalize on the viewership tomorrow. They got to do something, make a big. Yeah, they need to do something big at the start of the show tonight. They need to do something big. They really do. I saw first is your thoughts on Alexa Bliss versus Orton Mania match with the Fiend controlling Bliss. I don't know. For me, I think I'm ready just to see the Fiend come back and just be back and just have Alexa Bliss on his side. I don't really think that they would have a match with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. And, you know, the gimmicky stuff for them, they're not really going to be able to do at WrestleMania because there's going to be a fan there. So they can't tape things in advance. They can't have Alexa Bliss transform like that on TV unless she can do all of that stuff in a split second. So they're not going to be able to do that at WrestleMania. And they're certainly not going to be able to do that when crowds come back just in general. So they need to get that out of their system now before it's too late. All right, so let's finish up the show here with the main event. Elimination Chamber match. This one started off with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton starting it off, and Drew McIntyre was the first person to come out of a pod and enter. Randy Orton got like surprise roll-upped and was out of the match swiftly. I was very shocked to see that. I really thought that the Fiend or Alexa Bliss were somehow going to cost Randy Orton this match, or maybe even just like take him away, you know, during it, like lights go out and then he just kind of disappears and that's it. Maybe a video package, some sort of tease that the Fiend is alive and he's coming back, but they did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing for it. Kofi Kingston out of nowhere beat Randy Orton. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Ardell says, I can see Drew's rematch tomorrow. I can see it. That's why I'm saying I think it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because you're going to have Drew McIntyre who's pissed off and wants a rematch. Will they give him a rematch? Technically, there's no rematches in WWE. They've done them, even though they said that there aren't any. So they're not very consistent with the story that they're trying to tell. So who knows if he'll get it? Maybe he'll have to earn it. Maybe Bobby Lashley. So maybe the deal between the Miz and Bobby Lashley, or sorry, the Miz and MVP, was that maybe Bobby Lashley gets a shot tomorrow night on Raw at the WWE Championship, as long as he makes sure that he secures it tonight. That could be very possible as well. So that's why I'm kind of interested to check in and see what's going on. Rocco says they're too hard to sit through. Like the main event scenes can be good, but I really don't care about anything else. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the shows are pretty hard to watch. I thought that was stupid, so anticlimactic, says Raphael. Yeah, I thought it was weird. Randy Orton being the first one eliminated from the Elimination Chamber is kind of wild. Chloe says the Fiend pulls a Dexter Lumis on Randy. Are you talking about when he took Austin Theory? I saw a gif of that. Warrior says the fact that we got no Kofi Ali stuff is very disappointing. Literally a story sitting in their lap. See, that's the thing, man, that I keep saying. WWE does not give a shit about Retribution. They don't. They've given up. Retribution is trash. It always will be trash. And all of those poor people are trying to find something to do. They're trying to make sense of what is happening to them. Mustafa Ali does a fantastic job of trying to tie all of this garbage together. He manages to do it. He manages to come up with a cool story between him and Kofi, and they don't run with it. They fail with it time and time after again. So I really wish they would just get over it and let all of those people disband and do something special. T-Bar was on main event fighting Drew Gulak. Like, they just exist, you know? Good night, James. Good seeing you, my friend. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Chloe says, Ali, Slapnuts and Teabag need to be done. Yeah, just move on, right? Just move on. It's time. If you can promote an Asuka versus Lacey Evans match for an entire week, knowing damn well that you're not going to see it, and promoting it on your own show where you know it's not going to air and you're just not going to acknowledge it, I think you can split up the Foot Clan. I think it's okay. Fly says Xavier Woods versus Reckoning is a must. I wish, man. I would actually like to see that just because it's so funny. I love seeing just like Xavier Woods standing on the ramp just screaming, I want Reckoning. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Rocco says it's not that hard to make a semi-good story good. Like you have the perfect layout to a story with Kofi and Ali, but you can't book it good. Like it doesn't make sense. I don't get it, man. I don't. They're doing the work for them. They're doing the work for creative and they just still don't care. Miguel says, howdy, how was the pay-per-view? I missed it. I was at work. It was pretty good. Aside from the women's tag match and the Miz being your new WWE champion, it was good. Basili says, from the start, Retribution was a cheap attempt to be like Aces and Eights, Bullet Club, even Nexus, but Retribution from the start was thrown there out of nowhere. See, I think that all of that stuff I think was supposed to be about the riots. I think it was. Because I remember Ryan Satin was the one that said that he knew something like this was coming and that he was like, oh, it's not political. It's not political. I think that was the case. I think that this whole thing was designed as kind of like the people rioting and stuff. I think it was supposed to tie in with what was going on, and it never happened. Chloe says, RAW, I gotta go. I was supposed to make spaghetti tacos. What? Spaghetti tacos? What the hell? I've never had a spaghetti taco before. Is that amazing? I've heard of someone else having spaghetti tacos, but I've never had one myself. That's very interesting. I might have to try that sometime. I have to try that. Raphael says, it's funny. Good night, by the way, Chloe. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Raphael says, it's funny how they put work in for months to build up retribution and have their identities revealed, and now they just give up. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. They put so much time and effort into that, and like Liv Morgan too. They put so much time and effort into those videos. Carmella. They put so much time and effort. We saw Carmella video packages for a couple weeks. And then what? She's not doing anything. Like, if you want to talk about transforming someone completely, Xia Li is the perfect example in WWE. Xia Li was I hate to speak illy of like negative someone like this, but in terms of watching, Xia Li was nowhere near something that someone tuned in to watch on NXT. No offense, but that's just not what people were not like, I'm dying to see what Xia Li is doing this week on NXT. There's no way. But in like what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they transformed her from no one caring to that being my favorite thing to see on NXT, and I'm dying to see what is happening with her every single time on NXT. That is one of the big reasons why I tune into NXT. When I see anything that has to do with Xia Li on NXT, the sound for Dynamite gets muted and I turn right on over to NXT. That does not happen for every single thing. That is a perfect example of how you take someone, do a couple little video packages, and completely transform them into something else that's interesting. You just have to give things time. You have to focus on them. Okay, so everyone's saying spaghetti tacos are hold on. Sorry, I got to change it over to that. Spaghetti tacos are
such good shit.
All right, I'm going to have to try some sometime. I have to try some. Spencer the Goat for inventing that idea. Oh, so that came from iCarly. Interesting. Jojo says, it is disgusting what they did to the Fiend. Bray works so hard and they just take his title. It's a shame, man. The Fiend could have been the next Undertaker. He really could have. The Fiend did not belong anywhere near title picture. The Fiend made his debut. The world literally went fucking batshit crazy. The world turned upside down for the Fiend, and they saw that, and they said, let me make every single piece of merch that I possibly can. We're going to make a $10,000 replica belt. We're going to make $500 Fiend masks. We're going to sell fanny packs and weird bleach washed hoodies. And then we're going to take it all off and sacrifice it because Gold is a hero. That's why. And then they did it again. They did it twice. Man, I feel so bad for Bray Wyatt. So bad. The Fiend is incredible. And I hope that somehow, someday, some way that the Fiend can come back and be special again and actually do interesting things. I'm waiting for it, and I hope that it comes. I hope that it does. I hope that there's a plan. Morocco says, exact, and Undertaker never really had the title runs because he didn't need them. Yeah, to me, the Fiend is never about a title. The Fiend is never about a 5-star wrestling match. The Fiend is always about the feud. The Fiend is always about the story. That's all. That's all they needed. And like, to me, honestly, one of my favorite Fiend storylines that we saw was the Fiend and the Miz. That random thrown together feud between Bray Wyatt and the Miz was the best one that they had. It was out of nowhere because they needed to delay the Daniel Bryan one until later. So they just threw in the Miz, and it was good. It was so good. Like, that's what it should all be. It should be storytelling. It should be getting into the opponent's head and messing with them and doing whatever you need to take. Also, you know, we saw a long time ago that someone got hung upside down. I think that was Sami Zayn, if I remember correctly. And I think they alluded to it being Brock Lesnar that somehow did it. Like, that doesn't fit the character whatsoever. But, like, the Fiend should be doing stuff like that. Bray Wyatt should be doing stuff like that. Torturing people backstage. All stuff like that. I would love to see that. Baszler says when he put this picture over the Miz's family. Yeah. When Bray Wyatt put his head on the Miz and left that picture of his family there, that was so good. So good. Andre says, you didn't like when The Undertaker was the World Heavyweight Champion? That was like my dream. No, so that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that they can't be champions, but they shouldn't be defined by championships. The Fiend character does not need a championship. It's not... A WWE championship does nothing for the Fiend. Nothing whatsoever. There's no benefit. There's no benefit at all. He gets nothing from it. It's all storytelling. And then when you have him carrying the championship, now he has to feud with very specific people. He can't just go after anyone for some sort of reason that they screwed him over maybe back in the day in NXT or something like that. He has to focus on the main event scene. He has to defend the championship. So, I don't know. It's a huge bag of worms. When the Fiend, Mally Man says when the Fiend comes back, he shouldn't lose a match for like a year. I agree. The Fiend should have been unstoppable from the beginning. The Fiend should be a very special attraction. You should not see the Fiend very often. It should always be Bray Wyatt. And you could go from there. The Fiend does not need to attack people and show up behind people all the time. I would love to see, you know, one of the things that we haven't seen is I would love to see like a backstage segment where we'll talk with Randy Orton. So take Randy Orton, for example. You have Randy Orton giving a promo to someone, delivering it. And I want it to be dark. And then I just want to see the Fiend's creepy ass standing like really far in the background, like half of his face hidden, like he's like creeping along some sort of like of those big boxes that they use to travel or something like that. That's what I want to see, like something super creepy, or just have his head slowly pop up from something and then go back down. Yeah, man, I want to see that. They need some sort of different things to do with him instead of the Firefly Funhouse thing and then the showing up behind someone. Like, I think that there should be more to it, more variety. Jojo says, I like what they're doing for Alexa Bliss. She gives a Harley Quinn vibe, no joke. I don't think she needs the title. She just needs to mess with people. Yeah, I agree. She did not need that match with Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm not sure why they made it for it just to end in a disqualification anyways. It's just dumb. Green Nature says, who wins in WrestleMania? Roman Reigns versus Edge. Roman Reigns for me. Edge is fine winning, I guess. I don't have a problem with that at this point. Tamber says, fuck Gold for burying the Fiend. Yeah, man. But he's a superhero. You can't blame him, right? Gold is a superhero. It's all about the children, man. I saw first says Muscle Man versus Dude Love, waiting for the dream match. There you go. Gar says, I want stuff like the Fiend showing up in Randy's mirror, stuff like Taker did. Yeah. The Fiend is such a fun character. Like, have fun with it. You know? Have fun with it. Do some crazy things. Like, a perfect example of it is when Philip, why you gotta spam, bro? Come on. Don't make me time you out again. I don't want to time people out here. I just want to chill and have a good time. So Philip, this is the last warning, man. You gotta chill on the spam. You gotta chill. The next one is a timeout. I'm sorry, but I gotta do it. Marcel says, man, authors, you really like hokey shit. Only for specific characters. Like, I think it works perfectly fine for the Fiend. Perfectly fine. I just want to see stuff like that. For the Fiend. That's it. Let's see here. Anthony says just the longest the Fiend is kicking ass, he doesn't need a title. Yep, I don't think so. Never. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, but what I was talking about is one of the things that I really liked from it is when the Universal Championship went from Raw over to SmackDown, and the Universal Championship was red. So how do they make it blue? You just have Bray Wyatt do a magic trick and turn it blue. It's that simple. Like it was so good. I love that they just did something like that, because not everything needs to be taken so seriously. And when you have a character like the Fiend, who is supposed to be some sort of supernatural beast, death, clown, murder thing, whatever you want to call the Fiend, use it. Use the Fiend as a catalyst for stories. You want to turn someone heel? Use the hurt glove like they did before. You want to turn someone a face? Use the heel glove like before. Just all sorts of stuff like that they could do to just do goofy things. I don't think everything needs to be super serious all the time. As long as the stories are fitting with the characters, I think it's fine. And just for one person, like, I don't want to see 3 different like incarnations of a Fiend character doing magic tricks on a show. Like, keep it to one and have them happen rarely. You know, we don't always need some supernatural being on the show the whole time. So it's just stuff like that. Shelva says the Fiend should be undefeated right now. Yes, 100%. You could have beaten Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt all you want, but the Fiend should have been a special attraction, and he should 100% be undefeated. I was glued to my TV. I hated the Bray Wyatt stuff, like the little puppet thing. I had no idea what was going on with the box. Like, I hated seeing the box every single week. When I saw Bray Wyatt teasing like the kids show thing, I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, I'm not quite sure that I like this. This is kind of weird. And then we saw the Fiend at the end, and it was like game changer. Glued to my TV. When the Fiend was on my TV, I am watching 100%. Marcel says the Fiend got ruined immediately after his debut. Yeah, it didn't take long. It did not take long at all. Green says, yes, definitely Roman Reigns is real big heel, and sure, Roman Reigns should win. I'm totally supporting my favorite superstar, Roman Reigns. Your channel is so nice. Comment, answer if you do subs. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Rocco says people were chanting holy shit at his entrance. Yeah, like, it was crazy. It was special. It was so special. And when they find stuff like that, they know that it's special, and then they just buried it into the ground. Marcel says, man, I would have loved a post show for Hell in a Cell 2019. I don't know if I could have done it. I don't know if I could have done it. I might have been flipping my table over. I might have been. It may not have been a good post show. Fly says special attraction like the Demon King. Yeah, except that the Fiend would be the main character, you know, all the time. Just not seen so much on TV, if that makes sense. Ender Screen says, how do you think the Fiend will be booked after his return? Probably not very well. He will probably look dominant for a week or two and be back to normal. Marcel says Brian Alvarez did a massive rant on the Miz winning the title. It's so funny. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look it up. Rocco says I still think they should have had him use the Fiend character like on special occasions. Yes, agree. Green says can possibly Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles versus Triple H. I hope so. I hope so, man. Anthony says, what is the Fiend win in lieu? Oh, good question. We can look it up. I can tell you it's not going to be good. Andre says, just because the Fiend lost one match doesn't mean he's buried. No, you're wrong, though. The Fiend is a story, man. I bet you the Fiend's record is not good. Statistics. So I guess this is just Bray Wyatt. This is it. It's not giving me all of the Fiends. So in 2020, Bray Wyatt as a whole was 22-4. In 2019, he was 27-10. So he lost 4 matches. But I think that Firefly Funhouse Bray was one of them, right? So that would mean 3 matches. Gar says he lost 3 matches. But those are big matches to lose. Like, those are very important matches. So he lost the Firefly Inferno match. Like, how are you going to lose in your own match type? Right? Like, come on. The Fiend has lost to Roman in the triple threat, Goldberg and Randy. Well, no, that's not, because he also lost to Seth Rollins. That Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was a loss. I can just type in the Fiend here. The Fiend. Because they have him listed as the Fiend here. So the Fiend has 59 items. What? No, he didn't. Are you talking about Seth Rollins? The Hell in a Cell match, that is a loss for the Fiend. So 4, okay. Oh, so these include dark matches as well. Yeah, I'm not going through all. There's so many dark matches on here. I'm not going through all those. Yes, he lost to Seth. In that Hell in a Cell match, when the ref stopped the match and Seth Rollins retained the Universal Championship, that is an L for the Fiend. Raphael says, doesn't matter. The Fiend is supposed to be painted as an unstoppable monster. Having him lose even one match says the opposite. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, for me, I would have the Fiend booked as like a Jason Voorhees, right? Serial killer. I think that the Randy Orton match where he burned the Fiend alive, I think that would have been completely fine had the Fiend been like undefeated afterwards, because then you could have the whole story where like you go through a movie where Jason Voorhees is killing everyone, right? And then someone finally kills him at the end, but wait, there's more. He's actually not dead and he's going to come back. So I think that would have been a cool route to go. Hiccup. I think that would have been the cool route to go with this instead of the way that they went with all the other stuff. Green says, bye, see you later. I'm from India. Where are you from? I'm from Oregon, man. Thank you for tuning in, though. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night. Yeah, we need to wrap this up because it's been 2 hours and 40 minutes, man. I can't. I have so much fun just sitting here and chatting that we just go for so long. Rocco says, it's basically like Undertaker WrestleMania streak where he lost one and everyone didn't care about the rest. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Rip the Fiend. Mustafa says, when will the Fiend return? Hopefully soon. I would say anytime now. Anytime now. Warrior says the only way the Fiend should possibly lose a match is with match types that don't call for a pin or submission. Jojo says, I'm going to subscribe. Your channel is interesting. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we do post shows every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. We also do ones after pay-per-views. Maybe some Impact ones coming up. There's a lot of Impact stuff coming up that is very interesting as well. And of course, Marcel says WrestleVotes already posted some of what? Joe says, why was the pay-per-view shorter than an episode of Raw? Possibly bad booking. Yeah, it just seemed like they didn't really know what matches they wanted to do. I've been live longer than the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view was in its entirety. That's crazy. All right, let me go to WrestleVotes. Oh, it's just the eyes. Oh, the card. Oh, the card for WrestleMania. I see. Yeah. Safa says, hopefully he gets a new mask. Yeah, I'm hoping that he's kind of like burnt and like looks like he came out of a fire. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like with a melted face. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Anyways, let's get through this final match here so we can wrap this up. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I got a little bit extra other work to do before Monday. Anyway, so right before Randy Orton, I guess while Randy Orton was being eliminated, Omos ripped the back plexiglass off of AJ Styles' pod. AJ Styles came out of it and entered the Elimination Chamber while Randy Orton was leaving. Not the referee. Everyone's favorite authority, not so authority figure, Adam Pearce, came out and was pissed, screaming at Omos, saying that he broke the rules. I mean, technically, there really are no rules, right? It's a no disqualification. So technically, you could do whatever the hell you wanted, right? So they were not very happy about this. And the thing that doesn't make any sense about this is that on Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles was in a gauntlet match to try to get the final spot in the Elimination Chamber. So why is he breaking out of his pod to come in early? That was just very weird. It just didn't add up. It didn't make very much sense to me why he did that. Kind of cool moment to see Omos just break the plexiglass off, but still kind of odd. Good night, Philip. Thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you for tuning in. Marcel says NXT is apparently counter-programming the March 3rd show. Yeah, we kind of briefly talked about that. Someone mentioned it. They're doing the Dusty Classic tag matches, both of them on that night. Let's see now. Let's see here. So Randy Orton was the first person to be eliminated. Next up was Kofi, then Jeff Hardy, and then the surprise one right here. This one caught me off guard. AJ Styles eliminated Sheamus. And it was at this very moment when this happened that I knew something was up. I knew something was going on here. It was fishy. I knew that the MIZ was going to be cashing in. I didn't know he was going to win it. But at this point, with Sheamus out, if Sheamus wasn't going to win it, what are the eyes for from WrestleVotes? Right? They teased us that something was happening. Probably caught wind of the Miz cashing in and winning. Ooh. So AJ Styles eliminates Sheamus. Drew McIntyre clips AJ Styles with a huge Claymore. And then Drew McIntyre retains his WWE Championship. I saw first says, good night, AOW. See you tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in, man. Always a pleasure to see you. I'll see you tomorrow for Raw. Hopefully it's an interesting show. I hope it is. Raphael says, when AJ first had that fit and told AJ to let him out, he was so confusing. I thought he was having a panic attack. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Shova says, all right, AW, I'm going to head out. Got work tomorrow. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. Always a pleasure to see you as well. Warrior says, I like that ever since AJ returned to Raw, he only loses. His only losses have been to the WWE champ, even in the chamber. That's true. You're right. Yeah. I love where AJ Styles is at right now. I love his pairing with Omos. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So anyways, while Drew McIntyre was celebrating his WWE Championship defense, out of nowhere, Bobby Lashley came out and beat the absolute hell out of him. After going for about 40 minutes or so in this match, there was no way that Drew McIntyre was going to be able to defend himself against Bobby Lashley. Once Lashley had beat him down quite a bit, the Miz's music hit, and he came running out with a referee and the Money in the Bank briefcase. At this point, I think a lot of us were like, wow, we're doomed. And I was kind of like, okay, so either two things can happen here. The Miz can cash in and win the WWE Championship, or the Miz can cash in and lose, which would have been incredibly wild. Incredibly wild. Gar says third person in history to cash in twice. I'm not sure. I have no clue, man, on that one. Would have to look it up. Matt says, hey, just got here. What did I miss? The entire show, pretty much. We're just kind of wrapping it up, going over the Miz cashing in here, but we talked heavily about this for the very beginning. Anthony says, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. I hate the Miz. So yeah, man, I was like, man, if they have the Miz lose his cash into Drew McIntyre, what a geek, man. What a geek. This man would never recover. Never recover. Never, never, never. Yeah, so Asuka has been trending for quite a while, and Keith Lee was trending for a while as well. Keith Lee. So, apparently, no one cares about Keith Lee, but he is trending on Twitter. So Asuka, yeah, as well. Let's see what this says. Asuka, WWE drops the match. Asuka's someone says Asuka's booking deserves its own Dark Side of the Ring episode. Ooh. Someone else says, so Asuka can't get a new opponent when they had 6 days to give her one, but they can replace Keith Lee, who couldn't be in the US title match tonight. It sucks, man. It sucks. Safa says Daniel Bryan has won the most Elimination Chamber matches. He's won 3. Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. So Rocco says, in my opinion, this seems like plan D for the WWE champion, where they couldn't get Brock, Cena, or anyone else. They had to go with this. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It is very weird. Anyways, The Miz does end up beating Drew McIntyre, and The Miz is now your new WWE champion. Yikes. The Miz is the WWE champion in 2021. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Matt says, did Sasha and Bianca fight? No, they did not. They lost the match, and they were just kind of crying that they lost. That was about it. Dio says, you have to have successful cash-ins or devalues. I agree, but I completely agree with you, but you need to build up the person. You have to build up the person. I don't think anyone would have a problem with this if 3 weeks ago they were like, or a month ago, they were like, all right, Miz, we're going to have you beat the hell out of people. We're going to have you do this and that. We're going to build you up a little bit, kind of make you look a little bit strong, and then win. But they didn't. So that's the problem with it. That's the problem. How's it going, Sawan? How you doing? We're just about to wrap things up here. Raphael says, yeah, Drew and Cena would have been awesome. Shame he can't make it. Yeah, it sucks that Cena can't make it this year. Safa says, what can I say? He came to play. Yes. Gar says, Drew is beating Miz at Fastlane for sure. Maybe. But okay. So if you had Drew beat the Miz at Fastlane, what does Drew do at Mania? Wrestles Bobby Lashley and then beats him? I don't know. Dio says the problem is also that no matter what happens, we're not happy. That's not true. That's not true at all. I've been very happy with Drew McIntyre's reign this whole entire time. He's looked very strong. I wouldn't have done the Randy Orton stuff as long as they did, and I wouldn't have had him drop it. That's for sure. I think that the argument of saying that people are just never happy no matter what is completely false, though. There's a lot of times that people are extremely happy with things. We all know what we want to see. And I think that at this current state in time, with the ratings as low as they are, I think they should probably start listening to people, Chloe says, you're still live. Yeah, we're just about to wrap things up. Right now. Rocco says, in my opinion, they should have had AJ Styles versus Otis in a ladder match, and Mandy turns on Otis and AJ can actually look strong. I mean, AJ hasn't looked weak per se. I mean, the thing is, it's AJ Styles, right? Like, Zach Stone says it's very nearly 5:30 a.m. and Raw's in less than 24 hours. Tonight's pay-per-view was solid with an insane ending. If Raw isn't anything short of amazing, it's going to be a huge disappointment. I don't think that saying Raw and amazing in the same sentence, I don't think is possible. It's like an oxymoron. Hopefully they have something planned, though. Hopefully they have something planned. That's for sure. Dio says he's phenomenal. Yes. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Chloe says I would have gotten him more clothes to wear when he's not wrestling. Yeah. Drew McIntyre needs some clothes on. Matt says any returns? Nope. Nothing crazy happened tonight except the Miz winning the WWE Championship. That was the big thing of the night. Bob says Miz is winning in the sense he didn't lose. The cash in is good, but at the same time, it's the Miz who won. For me, more than anything, I'm just happy that the Money in the Bank briefcase stuff is completely over. It's done. Thank God. It's over. Omar says, what if the Miz told Lashley he guarantees him a match for the WWE Championship if he beats up Drew? I think that's what happened. That would be my guess. Maybe the Miz promised him a match at WrestleMania so that they won't be able to kind of change it. Or maybe he promised him a match for Raw tomorrow. I'm not sure. That's why I think we'll have to tune in and see what happens. Mayanik says, did Brock Lesnar return? No, he did not. Nope. Gar says Lashley winning at Fastlane then losing to Drew would feel weird. I don't want to see the title passed around. So if the Miz is going to be a transitional champion to someone, whoever takes it needs to run with it for a while. So if that's Bobby Lashley needs to have a decent run with it. They've already done the stuff with Drew and Randy Orton where Randy had it for like 3 weeks or something like that. So it's time to have a long reign. Fly says, who's the ideal win for next Money in the Bank? Maybe Priest. I couldn't even begin to tell you, to be honest. Molly Man says, no offense, but do we need another Drew versus Lashley match? I'm only asking because I didn't enjoy their match at Backlash. I don't know. Hopefully we'll have a better picture tomorrow. Like I said, I fully expected to come into this post show and know exactly what was going on for WrestleMania. That was the thought, but that's certainly not the case. I'm even more confused now than I was before. So at least we have one wrapped up. We have Edge challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And I mean, if Bianca Belair for some reason challenges Asuka, that'll be extremely weird. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we have Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks as well. So I'm other than that, I have no clue. Dio says, what needs to happen for Raw to be amazing? Less filler content, less hokey finishes, no more roll-ups, distraction finishes. People need to look strong. It's time to get rid of the feuds that aren't working. Time to stop running matches back to back for 6-7 weeks over and over and over again. It's time to use the titles to establish people as being dominant. These champions are looking weak. They're doing nothing. The only people that are booked very well is Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and pretty much Bobby Lashley. About it. Anthony says Bianca's second opinion should be the NXT Women's Championship. See, I think Bianca should go for the NXT Women's Championship, but I hesitate to say that because Charlotte Flair already did it. So that's why it's kind of frustrating. But anyways, that is it. I think that is going to wrap up the show tonight. It's been actually, you know what? Let's round it out. We'll end it at 3 hours. We'll talk about whatever the hell you guys want for the next 6 minutes. So any questions or whatever you want to say, we'll just talk. We'll end it at 3 hours even. We'll go to 3. Day Zero says Benoit and Booker T had classics when they were booked in a 5-match series. See, if it's okay, like it happens sometimes, but for now it's just the standard. You know, it's just the standard. Everything happens over and over and over. Apollo fought the Hurt Business for what feels like months. Seth Rollins fought Rey Mysterio for months. King Corbin fought Roman Reigns for what felt like months. The Mysterios fought King Corbin for what felt like forever as well. Randy and Drew went on forever. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns went on forever. Like Apollo and Big E has gone on for quite a while now. It doesn't seem to be ending either. So there's a lot of stuff that's very, very, very repetitive over and over and over. Omar says, do you think there should have been an open challenge for Asuka tonight, like Peyton Royce, Naomi, etc.? Asuka hasn't defended since September. Asuka has defended before September. I'll give you the date right now. Asuka. Sorry if that was loud in the mic. Or actually, I think I can go to titles, right? Okay, so here is a list of Asuka's Raw Women's Championship title defenses. I'll give you all of them because there's 8 of them. So, wait, what? Asuka defeats Sasha Banks. Title change? Okay. Anyways, so, okay. Asuka faced Alexa Bliss on January 25th. That is the last title defense for Asuka. So that was almost a month ago. Almost a month ago. The one before that was November 23rd. And that was against Lana. And before that was October 19th. That was also against Lana. The one prior to that was September 28th, which was against Zelina Vega. And before that was September 27th, the day before, and that was against Zelina Vega as well. The other one was Asuka defeats Mickie James. That was September 14th. Asuka defeated Sasha Banks in a ladder match on August 24th. And Asuka defeated Sasha Banks on August 23rd. There you go. They don't care about the tag team division since there is no division. There's no Raw Women's division either at the moment. Fly says no tag team title matches happening for Mania. I'm sure there will be some, but at this point, I don't think there's anything. Warrior says, who do you think should be Edge's next feud after Roman? It should be a dream match. Hopefully it's like Daniel Bryan or something like that. I would love to see that. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins will all be pretty high on my list of people I want to see him face. Miley Man says, I missed the SmackDown post show, but I heard Apollo turned heel. Yes, he did. He beat the hell out of Big E and Shinsuke Nakamura with steel steps. Gyro says, I'm going to stick with my gut. WWE is keeping the title on Asuka until Becky comes back, which is why we haven't seen the Raw Women's Championship being defended. The only logical explanation. I mean, I wouldn't consider that a logical explanation for that because they could just have her defend it and keep it. You know? Joseph says, hello, and even if Miz isn't the guy, he deserves the title win. I disagree. At this point, The Miz didn't belong anywhere near the WWE Championship just because of the way he's booked. Dave says they used to book stuff for months back in the 80s and 90s and it worked. The wrestling is so much better now, but they have to build people up somehow. The problem is that they don't build up anyone. No one's allowed to look strong. If you win a match decisively, you usually get beat up by the loser afterwards. There's either distraction finishes or roll-ups. Like, nothing is very decisive anymore. Hardly anything. Philip has returned and says, let's talk about Edge and Christian. I would love to see Edge and Christian tag again. I don't think they should have a tag title run or anything, but I would love to see them in a tag match. That'd be pretty cool. Mayanix says, is Drew have a chance to win the championship? I'm sure he will have an opportunity. Bob says, what contenders do Cedric and Shelton even have? I have no clue, man. Lucha House Party. I don't know. Do I think that they should unify the tag titles? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. If they could, whatever they need to do to make things work, do it. If you need to unify the titles to do that, do it. If you need to keep them separated, fine. Do it. But just do it. Fix it. Just fix it. Anthony says, I hate the fact that Drew will be the first to get the WWE title opportunity, just like Randy versus Drew. Maybe we'll see. Mustafa says, I disagree. In the Attitude Era, there was a title change at almost every pay-per-view. I mean, I don't think that the Attitude Era was the perfect example of wrestling in the world. Things have changed back then, and I think that people really they focus on nostalgia, I think, for the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was not always as great as everyone thinks it was. I've gone back and watched some of the stuff, and some of the stuff that's on the show is garbage. Like, some of it's like trash, but at the same time, you had those people that were larger than life. You had Stone Cold whooping everyone's ass and drinking beers. You had The Rock. You had The Undertaker. You had Kurt Angle. Like, you had all of these people. Kane, Mankind, Shawn Michaels, like all of DX. You had all of these crazy people. And I think that they were able to take it to that next level. I think that's the difference. Anthony says, I blame Humberto Carrillo for tonight's ending. I would too, man. It's probably his fault. Fly says, Xavier Woods wants a tag match with Edge and Christian. I'm down to see New Day versus Edge and Christian. That'd be awesome. Gar says, Attitude Era sucks aside from having larger than life characters. Yeah, I don't think that the Attitude Era was all that it's chuffed up to be. I mean, I watched it, and I can tell you, I remember it all, not all being incredible. I always flipped between Monday Night Raw and Nitro. There was a lot of stuff that happened on WWF that wasn't good, you know? But like I said, they had those larger than life characters. The crowd was batshit crazy all the time. Like, you know, I'm missing all of those, all of the signs everywhere. Flash photography is something that I miss a lot as well. It's so cool to see, like, you know, like, let's say The Rock, for instance. You know, The Rock wins the WWF championship, gets up on the top turnbuckle and does his pose. And then you just see tons of cameras just flickering and taking pictures of him. Man, that was so cool. I loved that. Obi James says, I'm going to head out. Have a good night. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you again for the Monday Night Raw post show. Matt says, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Y2J, Booker could have been in WCW during that time with better leadership. Does WCW survive? I'm not sure. Probably not. But see, the thing that I would have done differently as well is if I was Vince McMahon, I would have bought WCW and I would have kept WCW alive. That's what I would have done. I would have had two shows competing with each other at the same time. I would have them be completely different, and I just would have fixed WCW. And you want to know why? Here's the thing. A lot of people always complain that they like Coca-Cola better than Pepsi, or they like Pepsi better than Coca-Cola. Who cares if you own both of them, right? You can only win. Compete with yourself. Have two different creative teams competing to be the better brand. I think that would have worked. I think it would have worked. If not, they could have ended up just changing the days so that they didn't compete with each other. And they could have just competed on different days under a different brand. And I think it would have been so much better. Have a good night, Philip, man. Say they like Coke? Eyes? 10 pops up. WCW dying hurt the sport badly. Yeah, when WWE is unrivaled, they can do whatever the hell they want and get away with it. Okay, so we went a little bit longer. 3 hours and 5 minutes. I think that's going to do it for me. Gar says WCW could have just worked as SmackDown, but sooner. Years later, he did the brand split because he wanted competition. It would have been the same thing, but sooner. Yeah, exactly. Day says WCW was already dead as it was bought. Yes, but you could have totally rebranded it. Instead of like his speech saying like, hey, I bought WCW because you guys are plebs and I'm the winner. Ha ha ha, suck it. You know, he could have just bought it and changed it and won. And now he could have two dominant shows right now. He could have had WWE and WCW at the same time. He could have owned it all. That's what I would have done. And then the fun thing is, when you own both of them, you could have your people show up. You could do inter-promotion stuff. Because guess what? It's the same shit. You're the owner. You're the owner. Zach says, thanks for the show tonight, Detective. What a show it was to see you tonight. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Fly says, real quick, can you scroll up to my comment earlier? Okay, let me see. Yep, I got you. Fly says, the thing about the Attitude Era, there wasn't nearly as much spoilers. That's why people like it more unpredictable. Maybe there was. I was a kid then. I think that's what kind of makes it different too, is that I was a kid as well. So, you know, I didn't take all of this seriously, but now I'm an adult. I pay attention. I focus on logic and stuff. That's probably not something that I was doing as a kid. I was probably just looking for violence and Stone Cold beating people's asses, drinking beers, you know? So now I try to look more in depth to it and stuff like that. I get more into it. Bob. Let's see, my friend. Remember how bad WWE ECW was? Yes. Terrible. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind spoilers. I really don't care. I don't think it really ruins anything for me. So I don't mind seeing them. But I can get why people don't like them. I get it. It makes sense to me. All right. Anyways, that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I really, really, really appreciate it. The support tonight was crazy. The almost 6,000 views tonight over the span of the show. Incredible. Thank you guys so much. If you're here and you haven't already subscribed yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well. We're so close to 100. So close to 100. Just 11 away from 100. That's crazy. So that would be awesome. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're new here also, I plan on doing more videos. I was going to do an Edge one, but I think that got ruined because he picked who his opponent is going to be. There might be a Bianca Belair one at some point this week. I do want to do more videos. Also, there will be, if you're new here, there are live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Post shows for all of those. There's always post shows for all the pay-per-views as well. We will probably do Impact ones as long as they're big enough with AEW people. NXT, AEW, all of that good stuff. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I hope to see some of you new faces again for the post show tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. Once again, thank you all, and I will see you all on Monday. Peace.